festive friends. You know, the cracker things with chocolate on the underside. You know, they're a biscuit.
Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on the 22nd of December. It's getting close to Christmas, and this is the Crimble Classic 2011 podcast. Indeed, sort of. Joining me, Robert Kemp.
Jingling.
And Zachary Burgess.
That shit wasn't rehearsed even slightly.
What? No, it wasn't. That's correct.
Sarcasm.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Well,
it wasn't rehearsed.
My festive biscuit intro.
Oh, that bit.
I had to get it just right.
And that you did. We're really running out of biscuits. What are we going to do?
I don't know.
Do I know why we say the name of biscuit at the top of the podcast?
It is a mystery.
It will remain a mystery. Okay, we're going to have to...
Does mean we may have to think of a new theme pretty quick.
Yeah.
And we're not going to last till March, I don't think, on the current theme.
That's true.
Maybe.
Well, it'll be a new year.
Do we have to shift to hats, or are we going to reserve that to your house?
Nah, I think we can use hats, probably, because it's not often we're going to record at my place.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're moving to hats in the new year. News!
This just in. Get a hat.
So, yeah, we were going to just do the Game of the Year podcast, but we decided to add an additional podcast in our relatively regularly timed slot, because we've been playing so many games. Is that correct?
Pretty much.
So, yeah.
And because I talked about Skyrim forever, so we didn't have a chance to talk about the games that we had played last time.
That's true.
To the point where we've slightly forgotten what games I was playing, although I managed to rattle off most of them at the end of the last cast.
Yeah.
Like, in quick succession. Plus, I think you have some more... You were saying, it's like, I need to get some more Skyrim off my chest!
Yeah.
Exactly. So, more Skyrim coming up. But first...
Da, 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 da.
Robert Kemp. We go... No news now, because what news have we got? What news is there?
You.
No.
Well, some of the early
Star
games...
Wars launched.
Yeah, Star Wars came out.
Yeah, woo. What about it?
You were meant to be playing that.
I was?
You said you were going to.
I was considering it, but I never got the internet before.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Yeah.
You kind of need the internet.
Yeah, possibly in future. We'll have to see if any of our correspondents in the field, such as John Butler, have actually started on tour.
Yeah, but if you let him get ahead of you, you'll be screwed.
Well,
if he gets to like level 70 or something.
But he's like the leveling master anyway. He just sits there and levels constantly. Like, I'd never be able to power level like he can. He's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
In World of Warcraft. It's probably the exact same process, I imagine, in the Old Republic.
They haven't... It's technically, like, smaller than Star Wars Galaxies as well, because they haven't got any of the space elements that Galaxies had. They have a certain...
I'm sure they'll add that
They do have some kind of space element.
I thought
but supposedly it's really bad.
Okay.
But Galaxies...
Sort of like Galaxies.
Galaxies didn't have it at first, and they had that jump to light speed or whatever.
Well, they had pretty much the
expansion.
entire thing got changed halfway through to something fairly different.
But it was never that great, was it?
Well, no, the original was kind of flawed, and then... Well, the whole game was flawed in the original, and then they changed it all, saying so everyone could become a Jedi, and it's like, wow, and then all the existing players got pissed off, because it's like, but we worked for this.
But they didn't really, because it was sort of random.
Oh, was it?
It was like, only 1% of the population or something gets to be a Jedi.
But in the Old Republic, you can just say, I want to be a Jedi, and you totally are, right?
Well, it's just because Jedi is a class now.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not like a toggle. You don't have another class and then, like, Jedi on top of that.
Jedi Bounty Hunter.
Did you hear about the fourth class in the Obsidian South Park RPG?
Yes, I did.
What was it? Wizard?
The Jew!
Oh, yeah. So anyway, he's just screwed. Anyway, so what other classes in Tor? There's tons, right? There's a bunch of... Sith?
I don't know, I haven't really heard of
there's like...
All
Jedi...
I know is like Siths and Jedis, and then like Bounty Hunters.
But within Sith and Jedi, you can be like a consular
but
or
it's
a
not
knight.
really a different class. That's
You'd be a Hutt.
No.
You could flump your way onto things.
Well, they were complaining that you can't be a Rhodian, right? Is that right? I think Ryan was pissed off you couldn't be a Rhodian.
I don't know.
I think you can be... But apparently you can be a Chiss, whatever the hell that... That's the Sith class. That's a Sith kind of race.
Can you be a Wookiee? Surely you could be a Wookiee.
I don't think so.
Damn it.
Oh, what? Droids?
You could definitely be a Twi'lek. I don't know if you could be a droid.
Wait, who were the Twi'lek?
The guys with the head tails, or girls.
Oh,
two
yes, I know
tails.
what you mean.
Yeah. The preview I was seeing, a video was Eurogamer, and had an incredibly fat Twi'lek bloke. He just looked totally gormless at everything.
I was supposed to have the Twi'lek just a brand of Jedi? Because you've got that Twi'lek Jedi...
They can be Jedi, it doesn't mean they're all Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not. They're like, none of the Twi'leks in the... Like, Bib Fortuna, the guy, Jabba the Hutt's like servant dude.
Yeah.
He's not Jedi, is he? And he's
I know, that's true.
He's a Twi'lek.
I was about to say, can you be like...
And dances,
But does that mean that there's many forms of Jedi? So you've got like Twi'lek Jedi and...
Well, Jedi...
like,
Well, did
regular
you watch
man-
the Star Wars films?
Oh, no.
Where there
But
was like Yoda and
yeah.
and then
Twi'lek?
in the game, not in the fucking actual universe. Yeah, you just explained to me there are two different
Yeah.
Twi'lek. There's like, but you know, does that mean your Jedi options are slightly more expanded? Wookiee Jedi, fuck yeah.
No, I think you're right.
Ewok Jedi.
I think there's a specific pool of races for like Jedi or Sith, and you can't. But the weird thing is that as a Jedi, you can get dark side points, so you could. And
Mix it up.
as a Sith, you can be good.
Can I be a fence Jedi?
That's a bit weird. No,
But apparently it's really bad. It's like, if you're not maxing it out, you're not getting the best equipment. So
Okay.
why would you not ever not max it out?
Or is it a bit
That's
like the
the
Guild
classic
Wars
problem.
system where if you don't like max level out like a certain couple of stats and like
Yeah.
fuck all the others, then
Yeah.
so
it's a bit awkward. I never really liked systems like that, but I don't know how else you could do it. Is the problem?
I mean, Star Wars is probably the universe where it makes most sense.
Yeah,
You know, do you remember their like equivalents in like Jade Empire? Way of the closed fist and
Yeah.
way of the open palm.
yeah,
In other words, light side and dark side.
basically
Yeah.
punching or caressing.
Was it Renegade and Paragon?
Yeah.
But they've retooled that so that Renegade doesn't mean evil; it just means badass,
Sort of.
sort of.
Whereas Paragon means softy, softy, dance around the issue, pad, pad.
I want to see how that works, Paragon, in because I always play female Shepherd, but and it kind of makes sense when she like gives people hugs and stuff. But like
Badass female shepherd.
Dude Shepherd, does he hug people? Presumably he does. It must be the same animation.
Yeah, I think so. If you're
I can't
playing,
remember
it depends on the
times when
circumstance.
you hugged people.
There's definitely a Paragon
there's
bit
some
on the
hugging.
Citadel where you hug somebody.
Yeah, there's
remember that.
there's some hugging going on,
Yeah.
especially with what's her face, like your male reading lady in Mass Effect 2. She hugs everyone.
Oh yeah.
It's that she hugs everyone. Because that's
That's
her
true.
weird, like, secondary job of, like, ship's counselor or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unusual for Shepherd himself.
I'm pretty sure there's a
Also.
Tarly hug if you're like going for that story, that romance line.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. But that's romance. That's different to...
that's different.
Just casual hug.
Just
That's
Paragon
also
pull the
not dude on
Paragon thing.
dude.
I don't think there's any like storylines where like Shepard just walks up to a Krogan and goes, "Come here, big guy."
There might be.
Hug it
Totally
out.
should be.
Hug
That'd be
it out.
awesome.
There might be, because that would be that's one of those kind of like, that's probably super offensive to Krogans or something, and they'll probably respect him for trying it. Because that's the kind of stupid shit that happens in this kind of universe.
It'd be like Shepherd.
Shepard.
So yeah, that's the news.
Steam sale news.
Oh right,
Yeah,
other news. Steve
I guess.
Sale.
The Steam holiday sale has begun, and so far it's shit.
Yeah, you got anything yet? No.
I'll be honest. I did pick up Duke Nukem out of curiosity.
Oh my god! What the fuck? How much was that shit?
£3.
Still not cheap enough.
Oh,
Cheaper than a
God.
Monkey D's.
But you shouldn't give them money for that. Oh dear.
I don't feel bad for giving them £3.
I bought the F1 game this afternoon because it was like half price, and I was like, "Well,
It's
Dirt
supposed to
3's
be really good.
Yeah, well, I don't think it'll be as good. Like,
It's not
I think,
Dirt 3 good, but it's good.
yeah, exactly. And the presentation looks a bit off, especially compared to Dirt 3. But the actual racing looks pretty cool. And I haven't played a proper track racing game for quite a while, so kind of looking forward to it. And an F1 game I haven't played since like Grand Prix 3 or something by Jeff
true.
Crammond. I don't think there has been a good one since then, if you don't count these ones.
One of Bizarre's early ones on the PlayStation 1 was pretty good.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, how Bizarre made their name, basically.
Oh, really?
F197 or something.
Was that like before MSR?
Yeah,
Okay,
miles
okay.
before.
I still consider MSR like their
breakthrough,
yeah.
No, they did a good job of that. It was the first one, I think, to have all the BBC style
Oh, right,
screen
graphics.
graphics and things.
Well, this looks pretty good, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. It's only, it was cheap because of the sale. That's the one thing I've got so far.
And I didn't technically buy anything in the sale. I bought the like Humble Indie Bundle number 4.
Humble Indie
Because-
Bundle number 4!
I was thinking about buying Cave Story Plus, but it was not cheap enough. And I was like, I'll wait for this to come down. And then it was in the Humble Bundle. And it is the thing where it's like, that's one of the things you get if you pay above average, but the average was only like $5. So it's like,
So it's not so bad.
I see. Okay.
so I cheat them out as much as possible.
Yeah, so go for that. Seriously.
Well,
always buy the Humble Indie Bundle.
Well, it became improved last night when they updated it to include, basically, if you paid more than average, you also got everything that was in the third bundle.
Yeah, which is good. But, I'm sort of tempted, but at the same time, I don't think I'll ever get round to playing it. I still haven't got round to some of the indie games I bought in the Steam sale last year.
No, I haven't.
So it's...
But also, another good thing about the indie bundle was you also get the soundtracks.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like, sweet Meat Boy soundtrack.
Yeah, no, that is good.
And it's not just the game music for Meat Boy, there's extras.
Ooh, like fan remix.
Yeah, like remixes and like music that they didn't use. And then the last track is acapella.
Oh man,
completely retarded.
That might be reason to buy this on its own.
It's not that great. He's really bad at it. There's one guy who made all the music. He's not good at acapella.
Because the Humble Indie Bundle isn't available via Steam, though, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, is it?
Basically, well, you buy it. You don't buy it in Steam. You buy it on their website, but then it just makes Steam codes.
Oh, I see.
So you just put the code in, and it unlocks everything.
So for games you already have, you still have a gift key and things like that.
Unfortunately,
Oh.
It generates a bundled code which applies. It just has everything. So you don't have to enter like 20 goddamn codes.
Well,
but then because it's bundled together, it doesn't generate multiples.
Well, it's a bit of a shame that it doesn't pull it up, but. I suppose at the same time, that's against the point. They want
you're getting a lot anyway,
and they want more people to buy it for charity. So I think I can forgive them.
Yeah,
purely because of the charity reasons. If it was any other bundle, I'd be pissed.
Give all your money to charity. Use those sliders.
Sliders?
Yeah, they have sliders, so you can choose what proportion of money goes to like game developers or the people who run the Humble Indie site or charity. You just shift them around pointlessly. Like 1p for developers.
What did you do? How did you min-max that?
No, I sort of went semi-average, but less to the Humble Indie people and slightly more to charity.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sounds good.
So yeah, well, what are the other elements of the Steam sale? We've got the stupid gift pile thing, which is even harder core than the previous sort of like achievement systems they had.
It's just because this time they're definitely putting pretty much every achievement is going to be in one of the games that's in the sale. And a lot of those we don't already have because they're all shit games.
Yeah, so far
that we don't want.
Yeah, a lot of the sale has been bizarre, like outside mainstream games, haven't they? They've not even been indie. Most of them. They're sort of that weird outlier set of PC games,
like shit developers.
That you never hear about and never want to hear about. It's like the PS2 Gunf era is happening on Steam right now.
Mm. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Sort of strange Eastern European developers and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a problem with that. I mean, they come at the occasion.
Every now and then there's
Witcher 2, wasn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Every now and then there's something
Stalker
punches. Like Mountain Blade, for instance, was supposed to be pretty awesome in its own way. I'm not sure I believe them, but
Sure.
It was supposed to be good, and that came completely out of left field from one of these middle ground ones. And some people talk about, what was it, Sniper, or something that I think came out near the start of this year being okay.
All right.
Not groundbreaking, but not exactly a bad game by any stretch. And that was like half price release and all that stuff. So it's
what was that shooter again that looked really awesome and was kind of from people that used to be on the Bulletstorm people?
Hard Reset.
Yeah, Hard Reset. Yeah.
Yeah. There is some news about that actually. Like after the PC version did reasonably well for them, they're releasing a console full retail release.
All right.
With like a lot more extra content than the PC version. What is unknown at this point is whether or not the PC version will then get that content.
Yeah.
Which is a bit
that might be
weird.
right.
But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to know they've done well for themselves from it. It's pretty cool to see like retro doing well every now and then.
Yeah.
even though it's like new retro. Other news, although I haven't played it yet, I'm probably almost certainly going to pick this up. Sonic CD is awesome.
Yeah.
It's getting ridiculous reviews. I read into why.
Yeah.
Why?
Because Sega didn't just listen to the fans, they fucking hired one who had written an emulation engine that does it better than the Mega CD ever did.
Well, it's not so much that you can't really praise Sega for that because it's more like he'd already made this and Sega just bought it.
No, but I call that humility.
Well, it's a good business plan for them. It's like if they tried to port it, they probably would have done a bad job, and someone had already conveniently ported it well, so they were like, "How handy! We can make some money."
I know, but it's I feel that it's not like I think that's a good way of doing it, because if you were to take it from the other perspective, if Nintendo were to come across this, they'd just shut it down. They wouldn't give a toss whether or not it was good or not. They'd kill it immediately. True. Sega, on the other hand, know that Sonic's been struggling, and as I say, for the last year or so, they've actually been listening and produced, 2 or 3 pretty good Sonic games. Just out the bat. And they've got as far now to actually hire some guy who had done it better and just sort of admit the fact it's like, actually, better than using our emulation technology, let's use yours.
Yeah.
It's like, what is he going to do now? Like, they find this guy and
in theory, this engine he's built could be used for any other, retro update that they do, rather than the rather than the ridiculous...
What's so great about it, then? It runs...
He just rewrit it from base up, basically, and then copied the physics. Rewrit.
No, he basically sort of changed it so it runs better than the Mega CD version ever did, which is probably not surprising, but it runs with the accuracy that the original was supposed to have. So, because of failings of the Mega CD hardware, there were certain frame rate hitches, for instance, in the game, but the way he's written this emulator, instead of emulating those hitches, which most emulators do, he's managed to get around it, but at the same time not losing anything. On top of that, they've gone to the effort of actually fixing bugs that were in the original game. So they've improved some of the dodgy collision detection, apparently, and not that I remember there being any.
Well, the whole game was kind of dodgy.
Okay.
Everything about the physics in Sonic CD was kind of totally weird from a Sonic perspective.
Well, it was Sonic 1 based, wasn't it? Because it was developed at the same time as Sonic 2.
Yeah.
By an American team, right?
No, Sonic CD was the Japanese team. Yuji Naka went to America to dev Sonic 2.
Oh, right.
So this was... I think it was Sonic's designer, not Yuji Naka, who was the creator of Sonic as a character. He went to Sonic 2, I think, and then the original sort of lead dev on Sonic 1 carried on with Sonic CD in Japan, and the two were devved in tandem, which is why Sonic CD looks like Sonic 1,
right? In
terms of how Sonic animates and stuff, apart from his infinity feet. And while Sonic 2 has that slightly chunkier feel to it and the slightly simpler design.
Mm.
It's an interesting story, but I just love the fact they've come out and done it. Better than that, it's at 400 Microsoft points, which is for a complete ground-up remake with both soundtracks, with both Japanese and American, and you're right, with lyrics missing in some of the tracks, which is a bit irritating for the diehards, I suppose. And it's supposed to be amazing, like a proper hardcore platformer that you can choose not to play that hardcore if you don't want to.
Well, the trouble is, I watched the Giant Bomb quick look of it, and he plays 2 or 3 levels, and completely fails to time travel once. You're not even showing this game!
You're missing one of the key aspects of it.
If you're not showing the time travel, you're not actually showing this game, you're just showing a really bad platformer, because it's not actually a very, it's not he's just running to the right, and it's that's not what this game is about.
No, it's an actual platformer, which is unusual in Sonic.
Platforming and exploration, and having to work your way through levels not just in one direction.
Yeah, like the early Sonic games all were, with the possible exception of 3 onwards.
Yeah. So it's you're not even showing this game. But I guess he was talking a lot at the same time about the history of it, so I guess that makes up for it somewhat.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. It's I don't know. I think it's a bit of a triumph, really. How we like to sort of lord over Sonic success stories. They're few and far between, except for the last year, where there's been a lot of them. Who'd have thought?
Sort of. Apart from the complete lack of Sonic 4 Episode 2.
Yeah, seriously, what the fuck?
Would you rather have that or more generations, though? To be honest.
Yeah, true. I'd have more generations, but.
You need some generations, which you're going to. Because you're going to get it regardless of how low it goes.
It's already 25% off on the Steam sale, making it a pretty much unmissable £15. Except if that means if Sega are already in on the sale at some amount, it may turn up as a deal. I'm doubting it, but it might go down as low as a tenner. I don't reckon it'll go any lower than that, but...
Never know.
You never know. I might as well wait. Hang around until January 2nd, and if it's still not there, just buy it anyway. Yeah. Is it first? I thought it was second on the...
Yeah, I thought it was, but it's not, apparently. It says first now on the front page.
Okay. I'm sure it said second. They must have changed it. Yeah. Maybe they didn't have enough deals for the last day or something.
Well, the vouchers say second, don't they?
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, they kick in on the second. Yeah, so it must end on the first. Yeah, that makes it.
Right.
And there's the other, you get coal as well. There's a stupid system where when you get an achievement in the thing, you don't just get an entry into the Steam Epic Draw now. You get like you can actually win a gift of some kind when you do that, and it's completely random.
Well, as far as we know.
Yeah, and those gifts can be anything from vouchers, which you get given as like 33% off the Valve pack or something voucher, as just for taking part, like in the first achievement, which I think was to visit your gift pile. And then you get these coal things, which you can but if you get like a coal instead of an actual gift, if you get 7 of them, you can choose to craft them into a gift of some kind, which is again completely random, but then you lose your 7 entries into the epic draw. Or you can just keep the coal. And attempt to win everything on Steam. Everything.
Yeah.
Don't think it's worth it.
No,
I'd probably just go for the gifts.
Yeah. Even though you don't know what the gifts are. It would be really convenient. Because like last time with the summer thing, it was like, oh look, Space Game DLC, I can actually, that's something I want.
Yeah.
And I know that it's there, so I can actually get it.
Yeah, you don't know what's in the gift pile this time. We don't know if
Well,
that
at least
voucher...
as far as we can tell.
We don't know if that voucher was just a one-off, or if like other vouchers are actually on the...
Yeah.
In the pile, or if all the gifts are actually just games of some kind.
It's like, are we even going to be able to get 7 achievements?
Well, yeah.
Maybe, well, assuming there's going to be one a day that's the, like, Steam achievement style ones, where it's like, go to your...
Well, they've already skipped a day on that, haven't they? There was one, the second day of the sale
yeah, I
didn't
guess
have any.
that was Spiral Knight, which is free to play, so I guess that's sort of counts in that category.
Yeah, it's not as easy though.
No. It requires effort.
And then going to snowball mode or whatever the hell it was.
It's that, like, the PvP arena thing that they put in the last batch of Spiral
The
Knight.
new edition, yeah, okay.
Presumably that's been festivized.
Speaking of Sonic Generations, the DLC is coming to Steam and PC.
The one DLC.
Well, the one DLC we know about, yeah.
what is that?
Which is a pinball table
Oh, right, yeah.
for the Casino Night Zone.
That's cool.
Which is already in the code. They're just unlocking the ability to use it for £1 something.
That's a bit much.
Yeah, that's
£1
true.
For a pinball table.
Yeah, but £1.
Not the actual level.
When have you ever seen like full price £1 DLC in anything before, apart from Railworks
How much was the horse armor?
and maybe like Magicka? The horse armor was like 800 points or something.
Was it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
No.
Just to make your like horse into a gleaming,
They won't be-
glowing sun orb of horse.
They won't be doing that with Skyrim, that's for sure.
No more horse armor.
No.
Because no one wants horses.
No.
Fuck horses.
I'm sure there was some. Oh, Vita in Japan is out,
Yeah.
and
Oh, it's
people
out?
have been reviewing it.
Oh, what's
And
it
it's like, well, technically incredibly impressive in terms of the horsepower and in terms of the sound quality. As a portable device, though, it seems to suffer from most of the problems that 3DS does. Namely, battery life is completely awful.
Fairly obvious, right?
Well, I know, like for that much power, I suppose it's right. But they've even gone to the point of like not allowing you into like doing an Apple and not letting you into the battery and
Oh,
things
really?
like that. So you can't even improve it, like upgrade
Like
it,
you
like
could with the
Sony
PSP.
offered later on. Yeah, when the tech got better.
Yeah.
To make better batteries, so you can't upgrade your battery. On gameplay, literally only 3 hours, which, in fairness, is a step up from the original PSP, which was like barely 2, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So, kudos for that, I guess.
It's okay. I mean, it's not great.
No, it's not. It's no DS 10 hours, is it?
No, it's true.
And even the 3DS doesn't do that. And the 3DS isn't much better. It's just over 3 hours in full-on gameplay. So, they both kind of suck for battery life, which is a shame. Which is yet another sort of argument for mobile platforms like iPad and iOS sort of taking over a little bit. Also, some people have been a little bit confused about how some of the interface works because the main screen is entirely touch powers. There's no like button controls for navigating the menus and things. None.
Right.
It's entirely touch based. The inbuilt browser is shit because it's Sony.
Mm-hmm.
They somehow haven't bothered to just, I don't know, why don't we talk to Mozilla or something and get their browser? Wouldn't that be a great idea? Or even Opera. Come on.
Opera's the one on the DS, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the one Nintendo like.
Fair enough.
Probably because Opera need money. Even that. Just don't use your own, Sony. You're stupid. What else we got? YouTube came out on Xbox.
Oh yeah,
which isn't a
not
great
very
implementation. Yes, it's nice I can watch YouTube on my Xbox, but, hell, you need voice search, and just make little things easier. Like, why do I have to watch a video to get to the related list for that video, or the other stuff made by that thing? I have to be in a video to get to that list. I can't watch a video, and then when it's over, go to the list to see, okay, what's related to this? What can I view? Like the actual website does with the nice overlay over the video thing.
Yeah.
Which they make better every iteration they do.
Yeah.
It's like, where's that? And, it's worse than that. It just dumps you straight back to the last menu you're in when the video ends. So in order to get back to that list, you have to start the video again and then look at that list.
Yeah.
And if you're in a related video that you're watching, when that video ends, it doesn't dump you back to that list either, or even a new list. No, it dumps you back to it starts playing the last video that you watched.
Mm.
It's utterly bizarre.
It's quite strange. Yeah. It's not good.
It's a bit of a strange system. I haven't figured out how to get to my subscriber list. So if I'm a subscriber to certain channels, I don't know how to get there. If I go to a certain channel, I don't think I can see the entire listing for that channel. I can see like the first so many in the listing because it's in that stupid in-video menu.
Mm.
However, on the other side, the voice control works quite nice. Except you can't do voice search.
There was the other problem with it where the sorting doesn't seem to sort.
Oh yeah.
It was like, sort by most recently uploaded. Seems to do fucking nothing at all.
It's like, here's one 3 months ago. No. What about the one that's next to it that says like a day ago? Shouldn't that come first?
Yep, rubbish. It's a shame because it kind of looks nice and metro-y.
Yeah,
but
it's a nice design.
It's just terrible.
It's just the actual layout is bad. And, yeah, work on it, bitches.
So yeah.
It's a good feature because it's a hell of a lot better than what the PlayStation has. Yeah, 4OD apparently launched, although I haven't had a chance to check that out. So you can do 4OD on your Xbox now, which is awesome. Demand 5 has also come out, so we can check that out at some point.
But you don't need that anymore because you've got an actual TV.
Yeah, holy crap. Well, I suppose this is the biggest news, but I was trying not to say, I have TV!
Yeah.
I have fucking Sky!
So yeah.
Yeah, I can watch adverts. Woo! And Stephen Fry's face in full HD!
And that's the news.
Yeah. I think I've run out now.
Okay, doke. What have you been playing? Let's go with Rob.
Super Drinker 2011.
Super drink.
As I've delicately tried and put that down just to reduce the risk of just like this. Boom! Yeah. I've been playing LA Noire.
Bling, bling, bling.
Bling, bling,
Bling, bling, bling, bling, bling. God damn it! As every time that sting of music comes on. You motherfucker!
There goes my 5-star rating, bitches.
It's more controller smashing than you'd think.
Yeah. I have to say, I both love it and hate it simultaneously.
Yeah.
For everything that's great about it, there's something I really dislike about it. I don't mind actually just driving around the city going from place to place. That's okay. I didn't have so much of a problem with that. Okay, first flaw though. So when you're driving around...
Did you say anything nice about it?
No, I said I like the driving.
Oh, cool. There we go. Okay, there we go. We got one...
That's what I'm going to try and do a one up, one down system.
Okay.
All right.
First flaw.
I like the driving around the city. Yes, it doesn't look as good... Wait, that's a flaw. Shit.
Wait,
It doesn't
look quite as good as the other GTA games, as you said. It's quite, it's quite plain.
Although it's a bit odd when you go back, because, I think fidelity-wise, it is actually better, graphically, but the actual city isn't as inspired, because it's actually the real Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is quite a boring city.
Yeah.
It's just rows of houses.
It's the graphics to it obviously isn't as hot as GTA 4, not even like that. As I say, I know what you mean. I love the styling of how things are. They seem to have got the feel right, but the aesthetic of the city is just plain.
It is a bit plain.
Plus there are some seriously annoying road routes in places.
Yeah, there are.
You have to do some annoying curvy roundy bits.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Although even though the majority of cities are grid, every now and then the game sort of seems to want you taking you to the irritating places. And it's like, damn you!
And other cars on the road are a bit douchey compared to GTA.
Yeah, they do cut you up like bastards. You're trying to drive like a regular citizen.
Yeah.
Actually drive properly, and the douches in the
make it
front
hard for you.
Yeah, that are in the left-hand lane make right-hand turns. You're like, motherfucker!
Yeah. It's like, oh my god! And the brakes on those old cars. I love the squeakiness of the brakes in LA Noire. you hear constantly that it's like you have to kind of brake quite early in LA Mall because those cars don't have very good brakes.
No, they don't. I learned that one the hard way.
Yeah.
Taking out a few buildings.
Yeah.
So it was alright. I quite like the concept of the street crimeness. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah. I just... It's a cool concept, but I just ignored it almost from the get-go.
Well,
I mean...
I quite like them. They're action orientated, aren't they? Most of them.
Yeah, they are.
And I quite like, as I say, it's quite nice that they have their own sort of like video sequences. Annoyingly, I've got 2 flaws in those things.
They're not great.
My balance system is wearing out. It's like, I'm not entirely sure in some of them that I've done whether I've got the correct outcome or not, or whether I could have done it differently. Like, there's that dude, right, that one of the first ones you get, I got anyway, was this dude saying, "They're beaming rays into my head," or something.
Oh, right.
He's gone mental and he's just beaten some guy to death with a baseball bat.
Right.
And he goes on a runner. So you chase him, and he gets on top of a building. You chase him up there, and he jumps off.
Oh.
And it's like, was I supposed to have caught him somehow?
Yeah.
Or shot him or something?
No, I reckon that's just like the flavour. This is what the 1940s was like.
Yeah.
Or something.
These crazy cosmic ray guys.
These crazy dudes jumping off buildings.
Yeah, and then you get this sort of like awkward scene where they put the body bag in the back of the thing, and then they just sort of look...
Well,
shit.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah. But then that seems to suggest that I've done it badly. But you don't get rated on it, and you don't get... If it just says you've done it, and it's like, well, okay, I don't know quite what I was meant to do. I suppose I didn't die, so that's fine.
I think
there are failure conditions in some, though, aren't they? Like, if the hostage is about to get killed or something, then if the hostage gets killed, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But it's a...
I think generally they always play out one way, really, unlike the main story, which has all these permutations or whatever. Well, I mean, cases. They tend to be just set-piece things, don't they?
Well, sometimes like the game early on teaches you about the subdue by, like, warning shot.
Yeah, shoot to the side or whatever.
Which is awesome.
It's cool.
And I quite like the way it's done, but sometimes it's annoying where every now and then you'll get the odd mission where you can't do that. Like, you'll highlight your gun on them and you won't get the countdown thing. And it's like, oh fuck, do I actually have to shoot him? Because there's no way of catching up to most people in those sequences. They just kind of run just fast enough for you to never be able to reach them until they reach some event.
Yeah.
And
some scripted trigger.
Yeah. And it's a bit frustrating to know sometimes quite... you've tried it, and then the guy's run away because you've been trying to lock him with this, like, shot that you can't. You're like, oh, motherfucker! For some reason I can't do that here.
Yeah, it's a bit arbitrary.
It'd be nice, and also it'd be nice if, because it's a warning shot, why do I have to hover my cursor on him? Can't I just fire a shot that I know is going to miss? Because because Cole just points his gun into the sky anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, couldn't I have done that myself?
I don't know, it's a nice idea. It's quite an odd implementation. It does work when it works.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. As I say, I'm with you. I love the idea. I just think they need to think of a better mechanic.
Yeah. I think that's true of almost the entire game.
Well, yeah, and the other thing I have about the street crimes, so this was my original point that I was going to try and get to, is that the game they come over the radio, and you accept them, only to then look at the map to find out where they are. And they can be fucking miles away. Yeah. It's like, it'd be lovely if it just told you about ones that are in your general vicinity.
Yeah, that is a bit odd.
And it's like, it just suddenly gives you one that's just completely in the opposite direction to where your case is happening. And it's like, no, I'm going to just not do this now.
Yeah.
Which is quite irritating. So, and you don't have enough time to look at the map because you don't get the location of it until you accept it.
Yeah, it doesn't tell
you. So you can't just they tell you it over the radio, but you're fucking gonna know where that is.
Yeah.
So I find that a bit irritating. And also, your icon on the map is tiny. Try to find the little white triangle on a map made of black and white. It's kind of where the fuck am I? There's no button to center on yourself.
It's not the best.
No. Saying that, facial capture is amazing.
So good.
Amazing, yeah.
Just need to put that in every other game.
I mean, they do make it fairly obvious, don't they? Like, telegraph the doubt face.
Yeah. That's the acting rather than the text.
It's like, where's the shifty eyes? There's the shifty eyes.
Well, no, as you get on, that does...
It gets harder.
Well, you don't get that. Because that slidey, looking to the side thing is an instant giveaway that they teach you, basically, in the manual. Literally, it's like, if they look to the side, they are like... But they stop doing that eventually.
I haven't RTF'd end.
It's only one page in the manual, which is a little handy guide to how to do it. But
I mean, yeah, that stuff is great, and we've said it before. We said it last time. There is a sort of weird disconnect between how the faces sort of attach to the bodies, and sometimes there are some seriously bizarre ones where someone's obviously got their head totally tilted to the side, and then they turn it back to face the right direction. But there's absolutely no movement in the torso, not even like a little shuffle or a sway in the weight as the head moves. There's normally something, isn't there, that sort of like goes with it, and the head just moves completely on its own.
I'm sure if they had time or resources, they could have done that. Not performance. Manually animated that. What do you call that when it's done not by motion capture but just by traditional animation?
I don't know. Animate it.
Whatever. Yeah, traditionally animate that. Yeah. I think it could have been done without it looking as done, because some people say, "Oh, it's the contrast," because you wouldn't normally notice that the animation was bad
because it would have all been done by hand anyway.
But I'm not sure. I think the hand animated stuff is bad in that game.
Yeah, I don't think it's great. It's not amazing. It's not bad. It's not overall bad.
There's some bits where you go, oh my god, especially in like the flashbacks in World War II or something where they actually have to do action scenes with these characters, and they just don't move right.
And the mocap wasn't great, I guess. I suppose they must have mocapped a lot of the body stuff because most studios do.
But did they? I don't know. I think they probably spent all their time, doing the face stuff.
Maybe. Depends how much budget they had. I mean, it was Rockstar, so,
Well, it wasn't Rockstar for a long time, but they did.
Team Bondi was Rockstar,
But anyway.
I'm trying to think where I'm going with this now.
What desk are you on?
I'm still on traffic.
Oh, cool. So you're really quite early.
Yeah, I'm still really bloody early, yeah. The story moves at a fair old clip at the start, though, doesn't it? It's like it goes from like tiny little case. It's like that wasn't really a case.
Yeah,
and then it's like
you stumbled in on,
and then big title next scene. Yeah, it does that for a while, which is kind of cool because it keeps it fresh. But you get a lot of those flashbacks that are at first like, "What the fuck? What's going on? I don't know what's going on here." And of course, you get that side story with the psychiatrist.
Yeah, so that all eventually starts to
tie up. But yeah, at the start, it's just like, okay, what's going on? Right, okay. Whatever. Moving on.
Whatever, something to do with the war or some shit. I don't know.
Moving on. I've said it before as well. There's something about the way the atmosphere and just the sound of the game is done sounds old.
Yeah.
And I know that's intentional, but it's nice. Like even the way the way the voice is captured doesn't sound super crisp like it would do in a modern game. There's a ye olde film. Well,
noir.
Not quite as old as the setting, but sort of slightly older than current tech sound to it, which is nice because it's draws you in.
The colours and lighting of everything is really nice.
Yeah, as I said, the general aesthetic and the general softness of it all—it's all quite soft, isn't it? Like how
you should try the noir mode. Like you can
black and white it.
You can black and white it, but when you do that, it doesn't just make it grayscale. It actually changes the contrast to make it look
super contrasty.
Yeah, more like an old film or something. It does look really good.
Get a punchy, dramatic shot.
So it's quite fun to do that sometimes.
Yeah, I did see that. That is pretty cool. But the thing that winds me up most, I think, has to be the rating. I don't think it has any place in this game.
Well, you could just ignore it. I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, I am going to ignore it. I just think it's irritating that it's there.
Yeah. But otherwise, it's like they must have felt like, oh, this isn't a game.
We need replay value.
We need to put some kind of scoring into this thing.
Yeah, I really don't think it needs it. I think it should position itself more as an experience game, like Heavy Rain does. Than as something with ratings or rankings or anything. It just doesn't. No, point and click adventures don't have rankings or anything. Yeah. And this is more like a point and click adventure than anything Rockstar has put out.
It's definitely worth ignoring those.
Yeah,
you have more fun that way anyway.
It just winds me up because the case in point sometimes that there was one. There's a hit and run case near the start of the game. I think it might be your first traffic desk thing.
Yeah. I think that is the first traffic desk.
Where some guy gets run over and it turns out to be sort of like a drunken tiff that ended in a stabbing because the wife was trying to... Spoiler alert.
Well, it's first...
Yeah. Because the wife was like with some other guy and wanted to get away, something like that, because he was a rubbish card gambler, blah, 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 blah. But I sort of got enough evidence that I thought to sort of find out that it was the lady and the man's fault, basically, at the end of the day, and to sort of chase that storyline. I ended up not talking to the driver of the car because it wasn't relevant to the thing. And the game sort of eggs you on to a degree to say, let's go talk to these guys. We know it was them now. Let's do that. So I did it all, like, by the numbers. And then at the end of the case, it says, you should have talked to the driver. You let him get away. And it's like, no, I would have done that after the important bit.
Exactly.
Get
You're prioritising it.
Get the actual fucking killer first, and then sort out the other guy's comparative misdemeanor.
Because you kind of have to, even from a non-scoring way of looking at it, you kind of have to divine which are the less important ones and do those first, just so that you get the maximum content.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you miss out on.
I suppose occasionally there might be clues and stuff that are in. Something got me thinking that even though it's not relevant to how I'd want to do the case, there may be clues elsewhere that unless I go pay attention to, regardless of the flow of where the evidence is leading you sometimes.
Because you kind of, if you're invested in the story or in the case and the characters, then you kind of think, well, there's a killer on the loose. Time is of the essence. But in reality, there is no time limit. So you really want to do things in reverse order of importance.
Yeah, and it's almost like you've got to ignore then what the other characters are saying.
Yeah,
which to me is just not right. If I'm embedded in the experience, then the experience would sort of be to try to get on with your partner, have a good you and partner relationship, kind of just do it as you would in real life, kind of thing. But you don't.
What do you think of the partners so far? Because you've got one guy for.
You had the cop at the very start, who seems all right, but a little bit dumb, and now you've got the sort of veteran traffic guy who seems a bit fed up with it all,
right?
So to speak. He seems alright.
You get a different a partner for each desk, so
so I've only had those two so far. So he's alright, but you can tell he's just get the job done type, but sort of it kind of finds the whole situation funny.
Yeah.
But this is kind of what I like. That it's subtle characterization. It's not in your face, is it? It's not. He doesn't have to be slapping you on the back, going, look at the dead guy, Yeah. It's all subtle, which is, proper acting.
Yeah. Some of them are good. Rusty Galloway is good. He's the homicide guy you'll get next.
Rusty Galloway?
Yeah.
That's a great name.
He's kind of an arsehole, but he's still awesome. It's the same with most of them, actually.
Actually, pretty much anyone called Rusty is generally awesome.
Yeah, so, look forward to that.
Yeah, so it's definitely enjoyable. I'm going to carry on with it.
Sounds like you're not as frustrated as I thought you would be playing it.
No, I'm not really frustrated. I'm just sort of... I feel more disappointed than frustrated.
It's like
if I can switch my brain off to the things the game is sort of is trying to gamify the game with.
Yeah.
I suppose there's the obvious problem sometimes of where the line is between doubt and lie in the concept.
There's
of the
a
game.
serious problem with that. I think a fundamental problem with their design there, but they have a bit of a problem.
There's been a couple of cases where I've been sort of there's a bit of evidence that's sort of related, but I'm not sure it really disproves your point, kind of thing. Again, spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about a specific case.
Well, you're so early in the game.
But again, it's one of the early ones.
And it's been a long time.
Oh no, this might be the first traffic one, actually. It's about the abandoned car.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah, down
with
by the
pig
railway
blood.
tracks.
Yeah. And you talk to this guy in the bar, basically, and it's you ask him where Adrian is.
Yeah.
And you've got a ticket in your evidence saying he went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it's a used ticket.
Yeah.
So you say, where is he now? And it's I don't know where it is. And it's that was the closest bit of evidence I had to have any indication of where he knew where it was.
Yeah.
And it's but that's not right. My mind is going, he can't, and I'm not sure this is even relevant. I don't even know if this is correct or not, whether I had to use that. Because it says, but it's a used stub. Why would a used stub be here? That means surely he's gone there and come back at some point.
That's true.
To San Francisco.
Does seem odd.
So would I use that as a line? No. So I thought doubt, and it goes, no, that's wrong. And it's but I had all the clues. And it specifically said at the end of the case, you have all the clues in that ranking. And it's so what the hell else could I have used?
So, that's where you have to use that dumb trick where you say lie and then there's more conversation and he will say something really stupidly specific like, you can't prove that he got on a train to San Francisco! Hint, hint! And then you'll be like, yes, I can. But then if he doesn't say that, you just back up and it's supposed to make him pissed off and then make other questions more difficult to get right later on in the interrogation. But I don't think that's true.
No.
Because, they kind of recorded more different dialogue just based on the fact that you...
Oh, or would that mean that, if you selected the right answer, that it would just go no? Or does it mean that you lose a chance of... Cause, depends on whether they consider the wrong chance theory. Maybe counts as a wrong, like, to your tally, but doesn't end the conversation if you do that.
I don't know. I've done it, and it hasn't counted against me in the ratings.
Well, do you know what I mean? Because you get certain... Not as a wrong answer on rankings, you know what I mean?
Right.
But a wrong in terms of the way the tone of the conversation is going. So if you were to then make an actual mistake, that the conversation would end. Because they get pissed off, rather than giving you a chance to say sort of like, I don't like where this is going, so you get one more question, and then they're sort of like, right, fine, I've had enough of you. Maybe it just skips to the, fine, I've had enough of you, if you abuse that.
Potentially there's a downside to using that trick, but I find it's always...
But it's probably more useful than not doing it.
Because that's the thing in that interview, I think I already said, but apparently there was an interview with Brendan McNamara recently, who was the main guy on this, who sounds like a total douchebag, but anyway, for the way he treated his staff. But anyway, he just said that originally the middle option was intimidate, not doubt, and that's why, when they were recording the lines with the actors, that's why he always flips out every time you choose doubt.
Because goes a bit, I think you're holding out on me, after you've just been really nice to this poor woman who's been sitting
rape
there.
Victim.
It's like, why are you lying to me?
No!
Do you want me to take you down to the station for, like, what is it, impedance of justice or something? I don't know. I don't know what the phrase is, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the phrase now.
Impedance of justice.
Isn't impedance something from electronics? What's the impedance?
Is it something to do with resistance?
I can't remember.
No, I don't, that would make it a bit too obvious if it was.
Obstruction of justice.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Obstruction of justice.
Yeah. I think LA Noire is a pretty cool game. He gets cases solved and doesn't afraid of anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What is it? There's a case near the start of the game, does it, where he goes, where your cop friend goes, usually if anyone gets the shotgun out, it means it's going to end badly.
Yeah.
And then you just get the shotgun out anyway and start blasting dudes.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot more action in it, actually, than I thought there was.
Yeah, it's quite simplified, but it works.
There's just more, I had it pegged as not really having many of them, but there's tons of them.
There's
actually,
quite a lot
really.
of running and car chases and shooting bits.
Yeah, I don't think I've had a car chase yet.
Oh, really? There's quite a few car chases. They tend to be quite fun. Because your partner shoots out the tyres of the other car with his gun while you're driving off, so you have to kind of hover behind them. But they tend to go not necessarily on the streets, like through back gardens and stuff quite a lot. It's all scripted as well, so it's all kind of fun.
He drives in a nice style then, because of that.
Yeah, exactly. And you get nicer cars as you go through the desks as well, which is kind of fun.
And you can nick cars.
Yeah, you can. We requisition them.
Yeah.
I never did that, but yeah.
I've done it once.
That's kind of fun.
Because I was basically chasing a guy and he got in a car and it's like my car was too far away. It was just awkwardly placed, so I just got in another one and chased a dude.
It's a dude.
So if I get to smash this one up, I don't care, it's not my car.
Well, I'm glad you've been playing that because that will be a contender, I think, on the older awards. So we'll be able to talk about it.
Yeah, it's got some merit for some of the awards.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But given Team Bondi's demise, how likely are we to see the formula return?
There'd definitely be a sequel. Because Rockstar have the IP.
Yeah, I know Rockstar have the rights.
And it made money quite a bit, I think. Even though it cost a fortune to create. So I think, but Team Bondi only...
is it Bondi or Bondi?
Bondi, yeah.
Bondi.
Team Bondi only collapsed because of the scandal over the working hours and treatment of the...
I guess.
It wasn't to do with the success of the game, I don't think. It was because...
They just decided to shut it down because it had a bad rep.
Yeah. I don't think anyone wanted to work there after it all came out and stuff. Anyway.
But maybe under Rockstar's... rule, it will be slightly better.
Yeah, whoever they assign it to, I don't know what they'll do with
the
it.
sort of ready when it's done approach, I guess.
But yeah, I think it could be a strong IP for the future. And there's certainly things they could fix about it. An LA Noire 2 would be cool.
I wonder if they would like. This may be considered sacrilege, but if they could apply it to both a modern setting as well. So say okay. Don't kill me for saying this, but you could potentially make a good CSI licensed game.
Yeah. What if they did the modern, the modern BBC Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah, but there's not much interviewing really, is there? He's just sort of finding shit, and he doesn't really interview people.
That's true.
Does
he doesn't care about people, does he?
No.
He just sort of looks at like random crap on the floor.
Not sure it works
turns everything in the universe.
Yeah.
It might work good as a standard point and click, but not so much as a Perhaps if they went, well, no, not even Guy Ritchie's version has that much actual interviewing.
I'm trying to think of a detective series, a modern one that is actually cool. That was the
Columbo.
first thing I thought of.
We'll do a 70s
That's
based
not
one.
modern, though.
It's like
I
you
know,
want
but-
interviewing, just go like Midsummer Murders or something. Because they never stop talking to people. Ever.
Yeah, that's not going to be. LA Noire is a bigger brand than Midsummer
well,
Murders.
yeah,
But also, could you do something
It's not
like
really
The
a
Wire,
brand, though,
maybe?
is it?
Sorry?
Could you do something like The Wire, perhaps?
It's-
Or what's that one on? What's that one on
Not
BBC
really.
that has the dude from The Wire as the lead that I can't remember the name of? Black guy.
oh, him.
Specific.
Yeah, I know, but
Idris Elba.
he was in The Wire, wasn't he? And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
And then did this as the lead. But I can't remember what it's
I
called.
haven't seen it.
It's quite good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I should look into
I've
it.
seen a couple. I haven't seen it all, but I've seen a couple of episodes. It's quite good. If anyone can remember the name, so you know what we're talking about.
Because he was in the Thor, wasn't he? He was the gatekeeper. Dude.
Yes.
It was pretty
He
awesome.
was Heimdall. Yeah, he was awesome.
He was pretty good.
He's probably my favourite character in that film.
Stringer Bell is awesome.
Rest of the marketplace. Apart from, what's her face? Kat Jennings' character. They even took my iPod.
yeah. Anyway.
No, Kat Dennings, not Jennings.
So yeah, any other games you've been playing?
I have been trying to think. Oh, I started playing Timeshift.
Oh yeah.
Got round to that £3 purchase that my brother got me as on a whim, from Tesco's because he saw it. He was like, "Thanks, Gibbs." It is appreciated. It's not as bad as I was expecting because it kind of had one of those like bad reputations, didn't it? It never sort of had a sort of it's just a wishy-washy shooter kind of thing. And to a degree, it is. But because I went into it thinking it was just going to be, it's going to be a shooter, like, just wash through 8 hours of it, it'll be fine. It's not really that bad. It's actually okay. It's harder than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm playing it, I think, in sort of normal mode.
Yeah.
It's actually quite tough in places. But basically, like it plays a lot like Fear, actually.
Right.
Which is, and it looks quite a lot like Fear. It has that same sort of graphic look to it, but without Fear's atmosphere, unfortunately.
The retarded enemies constantly dive through windows.
No, they don't. No, it doesn't.
No,
No, it doesn't have the cool sort of ridiculous, like over acrobatic AI that Fear had. In fact, the AI in this is pretty dumb. You can sort of funnel them through like choke points and just murder them one by one if you want. But, in that old school style before AI got good, with the exception possibly of Half-Life there. But it's okay. So you basically like. Your main tactic in any situation is push the time button and see what happens. See what you get into combat, push time. Most of the time you want the slowdown because it lasts the longest and is generally the most effective for you to not die.
Yeah.
So you run around, kill a load of dudes before that runs out, get to safety quickly, and then hang about, hopefully in a safe place while your time recharges, and then do it again, and just basically abuse it. Because you're really quite vulnerable. You die quite easily, and enemies take quite a bit of pounding, which is frustrating because your main machine gun isn't very accurate.
Oh no!
So it's probably less accurate than Halo's assault rifle.
Oh god!
So it's it just doesn't pack a punch either. So you kind of have to use the time really to down people unless they're right in front of you and not shooting.
Mm.
It kind of has that old sort of game thing where people can still shoot you even though you're shooting them, kind of thing.
Right,
So they don't get affected by pain. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they'll just sort of spray in your face anyway. But it's interesting because as I say, I'm not used to this level of vulnerability. It's even in Halo, sometimes you'll just die like that, but most of the time you still feel a bit like a powerhouse. It's like, unless you're in Legendary, I guess. But it's for a normal mode, surprisingly tough. The worst times of this is these are some of the biggest, the earliest encounters in the game. We get quite a large sort of open area, like a park or something, and there's quite a few dudes in it, and it's get to the other side of this park, and you're like, right, how am I going to do that then? So you just pop your head up, and they notice you, and it's like, look, fuck, well, this fight's on. Go on a quick time run, kill a load of dudes, and then try and hide somewhere. Good luck with that. It's just there's nowhere to fucking hide.
Yeah, kind of in the open, exposed.
In the end, I basically had to use the cheap tactic of running back into the hole from whence I came, and waiting for them to hang around at the entrance, and then activating the timer again when it recharged and charging up there while they're all hanging around and go shotgun, shotgun, shotgun.
Retreat to your cubby hole.
Yeah, there are some funny things you can do. When you when time is paused, you can steal guns off people. So they just stand there and you go, yoink, yoink, and then when time starts again, they're like, "That's my gun!"
Awesome.
And then you shoot them in the back. And it also has this like cumulative effect. So any action or forces you apply during pause, all get applied when time starts again. So if you shoot a guy several times with the shotgun, he goes woo when time starts again, like just goes absolutely flying, which is great.
Awesome.
Strangely satisfying just seeing time restart and this dude just standing there just go blah.
So who made this game?
You know what? I actually don't. Oh, Saber.
All right, okay.
One of Sierra's old divisions.
Oh,
when
right,
Sierra was still about.
It's dead now. Yeah.
No, I think they got merged into something, didn't they?
Excuse me.
They got merged into something, didn't they? Saber is still about. I can't remember what they did of late, but I think they're actually on like things like Conduit and stuff like that,
right.
or games of that type. You know what I mean? That sort of sci-fi edged shooter that hasn't quite made it as big as the others. And it's yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking it's interesting. The presentation's not bad. There are some cool effects towards the start of the game, especially when it's raining. Because, like, rain is always a nice indication of time passing. So, like, when you pause it, they all sort of sit in the air and get extra blobby and stuff and have, like, a refractive effect. And they're all just hanging there. And that's really cool. And it's like, my major criticism with how the sort of time mechanics work is reverse is basically useless, except for, like, pretty obvious puzzles. And the game will only ever, like, let you use it with the automatic function, because you get those 3 time powers. You get slow, pause, and rewind.
Yeah.
And normally the game will pick one for you depending on where you are. Like if you're miles away from anything, it slows down time. If you are right next to an enemy, it will pause, thinking that you want to steal his gun. And if you're on a puzzle, it will rewind, because generally they rewind puzzles.
Yeah.
So it picks whichever one you want. But yes, the weird thing is that the game is a bit crap at doing the rewind function. It's a bit, everything goes weirdly jerky. Like it hasn't remembered everything that's happened, or it was remembered at a much lower frame rate than the game is actually running, which is probably fair enough. But it runs at 120 frames on my system, like with the full 120 hertz wham, and then all the stuff is jerking about at about 15. It looks a bit odd. It's which is a shame. And they're literally only used for like crappy puzzles. I haven't tried using. You can force rewind in combat, but I bet that just undoes what you did.
Probably,
which is useless. You might be able to get away with that. Like run across an area, wait for people to spot you, and then reverse the fact that they've spotted you. But you might as well pause it, I suppose, at that point, or slow down time and just do a runner.
That's true.
So yeah, it doesn't really have much purpose other than obvious events. But yeah, not too bad. I'll carry on with it. It says it's only a preliminary. I'm only a few hours in.
Okay.
It's surprisingly better than I thought it would be.
Cool. So that's you then, is it?
They're my major ones, yeah.
Okay.
Apart from Team Fortress and perhaps back to Karkand.
Okay, we'll get to that, I think.
Maybe.
Shall we dive into... I've been playing Batman.
Yeah.
Batman! Yeah, let's talk about Batman.
So this is Batman Arkham City, the sequel to 2009's Batman Arkham Asylum.
Batman.
Which you've played.
Batman.
You've played Arkham Asylum, right?
Batman.
So you know. So yeah, it's good, surprisingly.
Batman.
Not unsurprisingly, it's pretty good. It's not as good as Arkham Asylum, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to...
Batman.
I'm trying to work it all out. Like, obviously it's not as fresh. Like, that was pretty amazing, because, like, what? An amazing superhero game? What?
No,
we went into that and you were like, what is this? Who is this developer?
Actually, no, I looked up Rocksteady at one point, and they have actually done some stuff that we would have heard of before.
Yeah, but still.
I can't remember what it is now, so I'm going to look it up again.
It was kind of out of the blue, but, I don't know, this new one, it's like, obviously it's gone all open world, as it were, which I'm doing air quotes, which you can't see. So it's different it doesn't have any of those loading pauses between the areas, like on Arkham Island. You had to wait while you're going between Arkham East and Arkham North, or whatever it was. So Arkham. But you haven't got the kind of Joker overseeing everything this time around, because he's just in one corner of this city, and then you've just got other... I think the idea is there's supposed to be a power struggle between the big villains in Arkham City, which is this giant super prison that's been built out of an area of Gotham.
Oh, that was what they did before, and that's probably why we didn't know that. It was Urban Chaos, which we would have known about, but we've never played.
So, But the thing is that the areas of control of these villains don't change throughout the game. It's not like dynamic. It's just like, this is the Penguins area, and this is Mr. Freeze's area, and this is the Riddler's bit. This is the Joker's bit.
So
they kind of stay where they are. Yeah, they have territories, and then they have like goons, and you can kind of tell because the Penguin guys have
suits,
Penguin logos, and the Joker guys have
the masks
and all that kind of stuff. But there seem to be Riddler guys everywhere. But anyway, but it seems like the palette of the game is a bit more comic booky and bright, less dark. And well, it's still
less
dark.
brown and next gen.
Yeah, I guess less brown and next gen. Next gen depends if you like that. I mean, it's kind of cool. Like the Joker's area is a steel mill. So it's got all Joker, party lights and stuff all around it and stuff, and all the cardboard cutout fairground stuff. But then it's all bright and molten steel and everything, and all orange inside there. And then other places are more, blue tinged for like the Iceberg Lounge and stuff like that. But yeah, it seems it's a bit less focused because you seem to be going between the different villains' areas a lot. So like you start off with the Joker and stuff, and basically minor spoilers, but you get yourself slightly poisoned. Anyway, so there's a ticking clock. Potentially you were going to die at some point because you're poisoned, and but then you just end up going over to, in your search for the cure and stuff, you end up over and focusing mainly on the Penguin for quite a bit, almost forgetting about Joker, because in Arkham Asylum he was like constantly on the radio, constantly
you couldn't avoid him,
taunting you, and he was talking to when you're in those Predator bits, which return again. Where you're
talking to the minions.
He was talking to the minions. Now you've got like if you're Predator-izing Penguins dudes, then you've got the Penguin talking on the intercom now. Yeah, I think that is the word. Anyway,
success. I got one.
I think. Anyway, so you don't get that constant presence of the Joker. So like his performance or whatever isn't so important to the game because there's kind of less of it as a consequence. Like I think it is probably a bigger game, although I can't really tell because I mean the city is big. It's in a kind of horseshoe shape, which is a bit weird. So if you want to get from one end to the other, you have to go. You can't go point to point because there's these big walls and there's restricted area in the middle that you can't get into unless you're from underneath from like the subway system. That's how you get into that area. But basically, if you want to get from one side to the other, you have to go round the horn, round the horseshoe, and getting about is kind of cool. I mean, it's really
dogleg par 4 then.
Yeah, it's a dogleg. It's an extreme dogleg. Getting about works fine. You just use the same grapple thing, works on all the buildings in the open city. But this time you get this upgrade. Well, that's good enough because you can just grapple to the top of buildings and then glide off them. Yeah. But then you get, in addition to that, you get this sort of grapple boost thing where as you're zooming up to a building, you double tap A and hold, I think, and he zooms up into the air. It pulls him up and he zooms up into the air, and then you have height with which to glide.
Do you still just float down with the gliding at a steady pace, or does it fly more?
So the floating down is kind of the same pace, but the thing is it's a bit weird. Now you can pull the right trigger to dive bomb whenever you're in gliding mode.
Okay.
Also, you don't seem to take full damage. Like even if you fall with that, you'll kind of parachute automatically with your cloak as you land. So you don't seem to take full. Even if you dive bomb into the ground, I think he just does a cool landing. Yeah. It'll even damage enemies. You can do an attack if you land into them. So you can do drop attacks. But basically, there's this other way of extending your flight distance, whereby if you dive bomb a certain amount, like a small amount, and then swoop up, it'll give you more speed, and you can actually get more height than if you didn't dive bomb. I'm not sure how that works with the rules of physics.
Stay in the air.
But yeah, it's quite difficult to pull off because you need the vertical space to be able to dive bomb. Okay. And that you can only really do that between buildings, obviously, and there's a lot of crap in the way, like lampposts and all kinds of stuff. So really, if it was an open area, which there are some in the game, in certain sort of more dreamlike sequences, more like the it doesn't seem to have the Scarecrow, but the Scarecrow sequences, it has an equivalent.
Okay, that's cool.
Which is Ra's al Ghul's stuff.
Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, so he's in it. So so new enemies that weren't in the first one. You've got the Penguin is the first one you seem to get to is Harvey Dent, who's pretty lame. He seems to be, despite the fact he seems to be the only one that uses an actual gun that could actually kill people, straight off. He seems to be like the least powerful. Like he has an area around the courthouse, but you kind of take care of him almost immediately without almost any trouble. And he just looks fairly generic Harvey Dent, once his face is fucked. He doesn't seem very interesting. Cause often they put a bit of a spin on them, don't they? Like, I don't know, the Bane and Killer Croc and stuff had their own interpretations.
Like little hints and
like,
obvious throwbacks to how their character is supposed to be, but with a sort of a harder twist. Yeah, so the Penguin has got you probably have known from the trailers and stuff, but his harder twist is that he's kind of a Cockney East End gangster, voiced by Nolan North, apparently. And, although you wouldn't know it. This guy does everything.
And, instead of his normal monocle, he's got the end of a beer pint glass just rammed into his face. Which looks pretty awesome as a monocle.
Huh.
Like the end, he's being glassed, basically. Yeah. So that's pretty hardcore. So, it's weird, because it's quite sympathetic of a lot of the villains, like Mr. Freeze. He's always been quite a sympathetic character in ever since the animated series episodes on him. But it's all about his wife, isn't it, Noire, and he's only evil in order to try and save her and all this stuff. Yeah. So their interpretation of Mr. Freeze is pretty cool. I like his character design, especially the suit and everything. It looks pretty funky. But he does seem to flip.
No Schwarzenegger then.
No Schwarzenegger, although he is kind of blue, but he's pretty cool. His voice is cool. And he's because he's an awesome scientist, right? I think Victor Freeze or whatever. So he's kind of half helping Batman and then half against him, and it's all a bit weird. Whereas
he's a bit torn.
He's a bit torn.
Of his own reasons.
Exactly.
His own actions.
So it's quite sympathetic towards him. But then Batman himself seems to be kind of more of a dick this time around. Less of a cool in control,
I'm
and
just doing this.
More of a just sort of arrogant dick sometimes. Especially there's at one point.
I will murder you because I'm awesome.
Well, yeah.
As opposed to I will murder you because I must.
No, it's more like. But people are concerned about him, and he's like...
I will knock you out in a dramatic fashion.
So, someone comes on the radio, like Alfred or Oracle or whatever, and they're like, you're, literally dying because you're poisoned. And he's like, fuck you, I can handle this. Sod off. And Robin, literally comes to him. It's not the original Robin, Dick Grayson, because he's become Nightwing or something. It's, the new Robin or whatever. He's like, dude, do you, need any help? Because you're, literally dying? And he's like... Fuck off. Basically, I can handle this. You go back to the city and visit some hospitals or some shit. He's like,
oh, okay. Give flowers to old people.
Yeah, it's calm down, Batman. I don't know, but yeah, I think a bit like Skyrim, maybe. I haven't played, but it looks really cold and it's constantly snowing. And I'm playing it in a room which the heating isn't the best, but it's it just looks cold all the time. Does it like that in Skyrim?
Not so much, apart from when it's you spend a lot of the time not in the hills, and the transition between snow and not snow is quite fast. Quite it's fast. Not actually as big a world as it seems.
So it's actually quite sunny and nice.
Yeah, it's some areas. Flowers and shit.
Yeah, but this just looks like the really cold, grim city, basically. Even the water in the harbour looks kind of icy. Graphically, it does look... Apart from that, the colour scheme being a bit more... a bit more vibrant. It does look nice, and I don't know how to comment on the performance, because I'm playing it on PC, and my PC runs it fine. It does occasionally jerk in the city, just when you're kind of...
Like a loading jerk?
Yeah, kind of when you're boat coming back into the city, or I don't know what area, or sometimes when you're flying across it, but generally in the city it'll be 60 frames for me.
Just general loading pauses.
Yeah, probably. It's probably loading stuff. If I put it on the SSD, they'll probably disappear. Yeah, it's probably from loading rather than from...
So other than the obvious frame rate improvement from shifting to Xbox to PC, Is it much better looking?
Well, I was waiting for the patch for DirectX 11.
Okay, yeah.
And apparently I only bought it after that patch had come out, so I must have got that. But as soon as I turned DirectX 11 on, the performance just tanks. So it's like, so I just switched it back off, and it looks great anyway. So I don't know what difference that makes. All it does.
I wonder how much of the new DX11 tech they're using though.
I don't know.
Geometry tessellation could be evil.
It seems to be a switch that halves your frame rate. That's as far as I can tell. So I just turned that to higher frame rate, and then I just carried on, and it looks pretty cool. So the combat stuff, I'm like, there's a bunch of new stuff to the combat, I think, but I'm just doing it the exact same way as I was, because I knew how it worked in Arkham Asylum. So I know I can beat almost all enemies doing my insane flippy routine, and that seems to be working fine for me. But there's a whole bunch of new upgrades and stuff. Like, they've taken out the throw, I think. So you had those two things. You had the instant takedown and the throw.
The throw, yeah.
Now you've got the instant takedown is the same, and then you buy upgrades, and various ones are like double button, but they've also got the double buttons the other way, which are harder to press, on the cross. So the other one is like Bat Swarm or something that knocks everybody down, which is kind of cool. And then you've got like ones which are like instant takedown and destruction of weapons, so that they can't be picked up by the next person.
That's cool.
Stuff like that, and can't remember the other one. There's a lot more to deal with guys with guns, because there are quite a few more of them, I think, in general.
Because they're fucking irritating.
Yeah, because now you've got like a disruptor gadget that can, like, basically it disables their gun, and they don't know it until they don't go to use it, and it changes their color on the detective vision so that you know which one it was, because they look like one of the normal enemies. Then,
so that leads on to another obvious question.
Yeah.
Detective vision. Do you leave it on?
Well, I don't, but I never did in the first one, but because I prefer the graphics and stuff.
But is it different enough to basically mean that it's like as they said, to try and stop people from basically just leaving it on, to actually see what the game is supposed to look like?
I don't know. I think, to be honest, I think it's gone the other way. I think it's like more playable with detective vision on, because you can see more detail in the environment than they used to be able to, because it used to like completely wash out and be kind of blue. Now you can kind of see, because it's got those kind of outliney stuff like in ODST.
Oh, right, so it's more like the visor.
Yeah, and it makes a really cool pow sound when you turn it on, even more awesome than before, when it whooshes out and scans everything. And it is useful, but I don't know. I still only turn it on when I'm like looking for secrets and stuff. There are some cool things, like now you've got smoke pellet, which is especially useful for armed enemies. You can basically do hand-to-hand combat with armed enemies if you're close to them by just dropping a smoke pellet, and then they can't really see you to shoot at you. And Y is a quick shortcut to deploy the smoke pellet when enemies are shooting at you.
Okay,
so you don't even need to select the gadget. You just press Y and it'll pow. And it obscures your vision as well, but it automatically turns on detective vision if your vision is obscured. Yeah, so it's like you don't even have to remember to turn it on. It'll turn it on for you, which is kind of cool.
That is neat. They thought that one through.
Yeah.
There's nothing like having to go through an awkward sequence of button presses just to keep the scenario in your favour.
Exactly, so they've thought a lot of that through. There's even like sort of dynamic tutorials, so if you've learnt a new move with your upgrades, it'll kind of wait until a good moment for that move, and then it'll highlight the button combo on your screen, so you know to use it. There's new stuff like... Thing is, there's a bunch of new stuff that I haven't really worked out how to do. Like now there's a different way of countering knife-wielding enemies. Because I think in the previous game you couldn't counter them, you had to just stun them. And then... Yeah,
you had to use a cape stun.
Yeah, cape stun. But now there is a combo for countering knife-wielding enemies, but I think you have to like time your hits. You have to hold down the counter button while pulling the stick away from the enemy. Okay. And then you have to tap it as they're swiping or something, and if you do it correctly, you can even take them down once you've got the upgrade for that. So the upgrades and stuff, there's a ton of upgrades, and consequently the menus are way less cool than they used to be. I think you may have noted this. Was it you?
No, I haven't seen the menus. No, wait, it was me. Yeah, I remember in the review, that they've toned down the cartoon sort of comic book styling of the menus and gone for just a sci-fi generic theme,
which is not lame. And even
Not
is
lame,
lame.
is
Is
lame,
lame.
yeah.
I mean, I really like the menus of the previous one, but I guess I can see where they were coming from. But
It's
I think
almost over stylized, wasn't it, in the first one? It was cool, but
Yeah.
if they need to show more info in the menus in this one,
It's
then
more
perhaps
difficult.
a layer of simplification, or just a layer of just make everything faster. They can still keep it stylized, but just make everything move a bit quicker.
But I've been playing it for a while, and it's quite confusing just how to use the menus, because like there seems to be two tiers. Like you can flip between pages with the left trigger and right trigger, but then there's more sections which you flip between with the left bumper and right bumper.
No,
So it starts to get quite confusing if you want to get back to the map.
So if you a trigger would always change the top tier, but a bumper moves within a tier within the currently open.
I think so.
It's like
There's
a
probably a logic to it.
double
that I
tab layer.
Yeah, exactly. So it's at least 2 layers of tabs and stuff. So I don't know. It doesn't look as cool. It looked awesome in the first one.
Maybe they're trying to make it be more like how Batman would see a menu, though, as opposed to because Batman probably
That's
wouldn't
true.
have a comic book.
That's true. So it is like Wayne Tech, and it's like it's in your suit system. So I guess that makes sense. But I just don't think it's as cool. But basically, the main storyline just propels you along, and so I'm getting through it like a motherfucker. Like it's going, it seems to be flying by, and like I'm already I think I'm heading for a kind of relatively final confrontation with Joker, and it doesn't seem like it's been that long. But then I thought I've made myself stop and start doing some side missions, because there are a bunch of side missions.
I mean, are they actual side missions now rather than just the Riddler stuff?
Yeah. So there's actual side missions now. The Riddler stuff there is so much of that it just is too daunting. Like
it's
I'm
like
constantly
Assassin's Creed Feathers daunting.
Yeah. I was constantly seeing stuff that I can't be bothered to work out how to do, or how the hell am I supposed to get to that trophy? And there's tons of trophies and not very many riddles.
It's going to be one of those things. Is it going to be one of those things where it's towards the end of the game you'll have to like almost how you had to handle the first one. It's like don't bother with most of them until like the end of the game comes
when you've got the
around,
upgrades.
and you've got enough to actually get them all.
That's true, but then you have
rather than finding one that it's like, oh, I've located where shit, I can't reach that.
Yeah, exactly. And it is actually tied to a bunch of side missions that are with the Riddler, because he's got like a bunch of hostages, and like it only unlocks the next side mission in the chain, provided you've got enough of the riddles in that chain of side missions. But then there are other side missions which are just unrelated. So you've got there's a Bane one, the Deadshot, who I never heard of before, seems to be sniping. Seems to be the sniper dude who keeps sniping people, and I have to work out what's going on. There's various ones, and they're kind of fun, but the main story is constantly propelling you towards the next thing, and I think it would be easy to just go through the game without doing any of the side stuff, really, and then you'd be like a bit lost, or you'd have missed out on quite a bit of content.
Well, I wonder if presumably it would have one of those dub you back.
I expect it probably will,
because there's so much in it, it would probably have to.
Yeah. So, and I found like a set piece the other day, which I wasn't expecting, a whole thing with the Mad Hatter, who apparently is another Batman villain, who's apparently obsessed with Alice in Wonderland. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember seeing him in the bios on the last one.
Yeah. So
I don't actually know anything else about him.
But he actually appears in this one briefly. Okay. So that's kind of cool. So they've kind of shoved in a whole bunch of... And they do a good job with their interpretations, but this seems a lot more bitty. It doesn't have this kind of overarching menace of the Joker controlling everything. Because in the first one, it was like, oh yeah, okay, you had to go down and see Killer Croc and you had to fight Bane and stuff, but it was all within the context of Joker's master plan, kind of.
Yeah, perhaps with the exception of the Poison Ivy stuff.
That's true.
That's probably the biggest, side thing that you have to do.
So the only time I've seen Poison Ivy so far is
because
an
asylum obviously has to have a botanical garden.
Botanical garden, actually, yeah. The only time I've seen Poison Ivy is she does have an area, like a building that's obviously hers. But the only time I've been there is as Catwoman, and there's a little bit at the start, and only a couple of sections so far where you play as Catwoman, and yeah.
So it's woven in. I thought it was like a different storyline almost. But,
as far as I can tell, it's woven in, but I haven't played as her for a long time, so I don't know what's going on with her, to be honest. But, yeah. Anyway. So, but that stuff's kind of cool. I mean, it's just a different character, She has a different method of traversing the city with her, like, whip, and then she can climb walls. And she can hang upside down and stuff, and she's got different weapons and stuff. So yeah, Any other questions? I don't really know what to say. I mean,
no, it's hard to say. It's one of those games where I think I know.
You kind of know what to expect.
Yeah, cause especially if you've played the first one, you're kind of in the same boat. And I mean, would you say, like, to people who haven't played Arkham Asylum, to go straight to City?
No.
Or play Asylum and then work to it?
Yeah, I'd play Asylum. I think it's actually a better game, but it's not going to look that much worse, really, necessarily.
No, I don't think graphically it's changed.
Yeah.
To be honest, the reason I asked you about the graphical stuff earlier is that, to me, from what I've seen from the shots and stuff, it looks identical. They haven't actually done anything in terms of the tech.
Well, obviously now they can render a whole city rather than individual areas. So that's cool.
But it's probably the stream loading stuff.
Exactly, it's the clever stuff. Yeah, I mean the combat is kind of slicker. Like you can do double takedowns, and basically there's less. Like they seem to have completely taken out all the special enemies and replaced them with new versions that are less annoying. So instead of the electric baton guys and the knife guys, you've now got... Well, knife guys you still got, but now you've got a different way of dealing with them. But now you've got, like, shield guys who you can't attack directly, but you have to cape stun them and then attack from above by double tapping A and going on top of them. You've got dudes who are, like... just really strong, like powerful guys, and you have to stun them, and then you start beating them, and then you start beating them really fast, like and your combo goes massively up, provided you could get them. But they're annoying otherwise because you lose your combo for just attacking them normally. I think. Oh yeah, well,
like anything, like
but you don't take damage. But there's those guys. So yeah, they've dumped some stuff. And instead of just adding, they've thought, well, was this actually fun? Let's see what could be more fun. Cool. So that's cool. But
presumably they don't have the sort of juice fueled
Titan dudes.
Guys, yeah.
I think they do appear once or twice in the you can ride them and use them.
Yeah. So they've got a few left.
Yeah. So there is some Titan around, but they were like the bosses of Arkham Asylum, and that was one of the apart from Poison Ivy,
as loosely as you defined a boss.
Yeah, exactly. Game, but so I think they've attempted to rectify that. So now you have proper bosses. But the thing is, I don't really like bosses, just in general. I mean, Zelda does that right.
Yeah, as I say, I don't have a problem with bosses. They've just got to be done right.
Yeah, I mean, they're done well. They're a lot more inventive. They're individual. And have their own... It's like a Zelda boss, basically, but with your Batman controls. So, the first one is Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday. It's just a massive fuck-off dude, basically.
Hello.
Yeah, and then there's some Ra's al Ghul is another boss.
Is it supposed to be pronounced Ra's? Because the film always called him Raz.
I don't know, it's Ra's in the game. I don't know.
Oh, what they actually pronounce it?
Yeah, Ra's. They do.
Ra's.
And you've got Talia al Ghul as well, obviously.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
exactly. I think they made her super sexy for the game as well.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of that stuff. But yeah. So there are proper boss fights now.
South.
The thing is, I prefer the general combat to bosses any day. Really, I mean, it's less dramatic. Like it looks amazing, especially the Ra's al Ghul fight. But I prefer a massive brawl. Like a challenge.
I don't know. It depends where you go, because I think the art of the good boss fight has been lost in games in general.
Yeah,
to a degree. I absolutely have no problem with boss fights as a concept. I just think that everyone's got lazy with boss design over the last decade or so. With that there are still games out there that obviously show that the bosses are where the main draw lies. I mean, Dark Souls bosses are supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where they're award-winning.
Yeah.
Kind of ridiculous things. Shadow of the Colossus was a game whose premise was entirely boss fights.
Yeah, sure.
Even looking back at, I don't know, Carragers were kind of inventive in places, things like that. You can make a good boss fight. But no one does. It's always like, shoot him till he dies.
Yeah, well, this definitely has stages.
Oh, I should have mentioned Metal Gear, because those were amazingly inventive.
So this has got staged, multi-stages where you have to do the same thing 3 times to get him to... All that stuff.
Yeah, the classic boss trope.
Yeah, exactly. And they are cool, and they look good. It's just that you have so many combat moves and stuff, and you can't really use any of them when you're in a boss fight, because it's simple.
There's a certain tactic that works, or use the bat-orang.
Yeah, or whatever
Yeah.
you have to do.
Throw
like,
shit, yeah.
Yeah, get in the right place and plant a bit of explosive gel or whatever it is you have to do. And do that 3 times. But yeah, no, it's cool. I'm enjoying it. I just don't. Just getting close to Game of the Year, and I don't think it's one of my nominations necessarily.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well, I'm glad we got that out of the way at least then.
Well, I'm not sure.
That'll cut an hour off. I
Yeah. What, of the future cast?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Is it again, like I mentioned earlier? I can't remember if it was in the before we started the cast or not. My mind is already slipping away from me. But what is again because of the impact thing?
I think so.
That it's actually just as good, but it's because it's not as fresh and out of nowhere as you described. It's,
Possibly.
I think that it's just like, yeah, you know what? I want them to be a bit more.
Well, I just think the first one was more coherent because it had a coherent setting and was less episodic. Because this one's quite episodic. It's like, oh, I've done my penguin bit, now I'm doing my. That one felt like a one night on Arkham Asylum, sort of hung together better, and I liked his characterization better. It was just cool, and I don't know.
Do you think they've gone? Yeah, it sounds like by your description they've gone too much the other way. They've gone for a sonic clusterfuck of characters when they perhaps should have kept it reined in.
Maybe. I mean, it's hard to see how they could have improved on the kind of Joker overarching plan or scheme.
Concept, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they could have just done the same thing again and it been as good. So I can see why they've thought, oh, well, we've got all the best villains. Batman has the best villains in comics. Let's just use some more of them. And we'll do Penguin because he's cool and Mr. Freeze. And
I can sort of see Rocksteady's view, like, from this, because perhaps they're in a sort of, like, uncertain place, in a way, because obviously in the first game they didn't quite know. Yeah, as you said, out of the blue. The only thing they were known for before is a lesser-known sort of throwaway PS2 game that was fun and quite well acclaimed, but, not really a serious endeavour. And then they go for this full-on serious thing that's well-made and properly produced and has a big old budget behind it. And they did it with the knowledge that this may be their last, presumably. I wonder if they still have that same thought in their head. It's like, right, fuck it, we're going to go even more all out.
Yeah.
And make every game all out because they don't know what they'll be doing next, rather than a planned trilogy. And they kind of...
It's good.
I have a massive appreciation for that. I mean, I don't particularly care. Like, I get a bit annoyed sometimes where it's like, oh, it's a planned trilogy. And it's like, okay, that means we'll get a good first game, a pad of story for the second, and then a potentially over-epic finale. Big whoop, It's sort of like, it's immediately... In terms of story and pacing and the way the games evolve, it's often warning signs. Mass Effect is probably the only one that gets away from that slightly, even though Mass Effect 2 is a padding story.
Yeah, this one, I mean, as you say, these are very individual. Like, there are links between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. There is, 6 months later. But you could easily play Arkham City without having ever played Arkham Asylum. I think you could. I was saying that if you were
It's nice that they do, it's like the Bioshock thing, and that you can, in theory, play Bioshock 2 without knowing anything about the first, and it's just... There's just more backstory that you know about.
Exactly.
And it's like, when a moment that comes up and almost reminisces about the previous game, you appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's like fan service before, without knowing whether or not you're, fans, I guess. It's strange. It's like a sort of, it's not really, I don't know what to call it really, because it's like a light fan service, I guess, isn't it? It's just like, I suppose as you say, coherence in the world.
I mean, they have an advantage in that, to be honest, if you were coming fresh to Arkham City and you had no idea who the Joker was, or Batman, you'd never seen any Batman or
you might be in trouble.
Then you'd be in trouble, because, it's not going to introduce them,
Although, in fairness, you could probably get the history, to get the gist between them in the first few minutes of Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you're a bad guy, you've tricked me, shit.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
So yeah,
and that he's got an evil smile.
I need more Joker. Joker's one of the best things about that game. Need more. I'm going to see him now. So, but it's like more awesome Joker.
Really? Say hi from me
in the game. But he does leave you messages on occasion, but they're just little voicemails from the Joker.
I've got a surprise for you.
Yeah.
Look inside. This omelette is looking great.
That's the fun stuff, because he's like, yeah, it makes little party sounds, and then it will kill you. Like, it's literally lethal stuff. That's the great thing. It's like the juxtaposition of the silliness with the absolute...
With the absolute murder.
Yeah, the pure, unadulterated murder.
Murder to kill.
Indeed.
That's so flat.
That's what makes the Joker the most awesome.
In hand.
Yum, yum, yum. You don't have any questions about Arkham City?
No, because I didn't play the first one, so I still have no reference. It's going to be the same thing that happened last year.
I was going to say, you've been awfully quiet for the last hour and a half.
You should probably play that, because you like Metroid.
Yeah, but...
And it's kind of like Metroid, especially the first one. Do you like Batman at all, in general?
Don't really care either way.
I'm Batman.
Okay.
But he says I'm Batman.
Well, now you've got that also...
Does he say I'm Batman?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm Batman.
You get to see
I suppose
Bruce Wayne's face.
I guess in theory, everyone in Arkham City would already know who he is because they're all evil.
Yeah.
So they automatically know who the good guy is.
Yeah.
Although it's quite fun. I'm Batman. Yeah, no, shut up.
It's not like I'm Daisy. Because then you know...
Hi, I'm Daisy.
She's just saying it for no reason. Apparently.
That is ridiculous, isn't it? It's like... What kind of disease is that? Like 5 second memory loss or something, where every time you switch to the front of the cart or something, you have to shout, "Hi, I'm Daisy."
You should probably check out Arkham Asylum. Might get that for you on Steam if it's cheap.
I don't know if I play it.
It's good though.
It's really good.
I was unsure. I'll be honest. You know, I had that sort of like, I know it's a great game, but I was unsure about whether I'd like it when I sort of started out. But then it doesn't take long and you're hooked because it's got that Metroidiness.
It's pretty damn good.
And it's
a
like,
good game.
Yeah. In a way, do you think that... Actually, there's a very good point. Like, because Metroid kind of always has that coherence in its world, as you mentioned, like from the first game, from Arkham Asylum, you've got that coherence of the thingy. Metroid has always had that feeling as well, with the possible exception of Prime 3, with the planet shifting.
Sure, yeah.
And let's not even get involved in that other M. That never happened. Yeah. But, you know, they always have that sort of, like, isolation feeling. The feel is always consistent in the world, and it always has that. There's always a sort of reason why you're there, but you just can't reach it. You know, kind of feel to it. And it's it's nice. So the fact that, you know, they've taken the same Metroid-y approach. They've basically done a Prime 3 on it almost, haven't they? There's so much to do, and there's these completely separate areas that the kind of feel of the game is somehow not there.
Well, it is still there. I think it is still there. I wouldn't say the feel is lost. I mean, the moment you start playing, you're like, oh, I know where I am. This is awesome Batman game. I remember this. Like, he moves the same stuff. Like the controls are really nice and polished and stuff. That's you immediately feel the quality the moment you pick up the controller. You know, with that game. So it's definitely still got that stuff, and you know, there's more traversal moves and stuff with new gadgets and things. So there's even more to do, things to see, people to punch in the face.
Did you resolve the question of what happens when you do a ledge takedown? Because
do people die?
Yeah, we were discussing whether you're checking someone off and kills them or not.
I've done a ledge takedown. I need to go down and like see their body in detective vision and see if they're just unconscious.
That would be funny.
Surely that's
you jumped off a building and they just made it went unconscious. It's like Batman can't kill people. Not that he doesn't.
He's incapable of murder. Yeah.
I should tell you what, that did make me laugh actually. That bit on LA Noire I was talking about, the guy jumps off a roof. It's not a very high roof.
Oh, right.
Probably shouldn't have killed him.
1940s, he probably hadn't drunk enough milk. He had brittle bones or something.
Or his hat weighed him down. He was wearing a teapot on his hat or something.
Yeah, not very many high roofs in LA at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's Batman, I think, for the time being.
Batman.
I might talk about it more in the Game of the Year. But,
Test Skyrim a new one, Zach.
But yes, it's time for some Skyrim.
No, it isn't, because I got to talk about all the stuff that I didn't talk about because I talked about Skyrim last time first.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, no.
I actually sort of because I have a distaste for Skyrim and generally I don't understand all the praise. I kind of look forward to listening to the crap.
There is some more, but we'll have to see if I get to that.
Anticipation.
But the first thing, I think the biggest thing that I was playing before Skyrim that I didn't get to talk about because I talked about Skyrim was there was the Terraria patch.
Terraria.
The 1.1. Which actually put in a massively large amount of new shit, which was kind of awesome, again. And not just like new stuff to make, but like new mechanics and new bosses and stuff. So it's actually kind of super awesome now, where it's like you have the whole progression that you had before, where it's like, you dig shit up and then you get better stuff. And then eventually you go down like you go into the like corrupted areas and destroy the shadow orbs and defeat that boss that spawns from those. And then you go down into hell and get the hellstone and make the best shit.
Yeah.
But now that's not the end any longer.
I always make the best shit.
It's like, that's not the end any longer. So you go down into hell and then you trigger like the hell boss, which is the wall of flesh, which it's exactly what it's just like a big wall that chases you, and then you just have to like shoot it while running rapidly through hell, which is actually, you have to plan that quite a lot, because if you didn't know if you hadn't suspected what was going to happen, that would probably fuck you over real good, because hell is full of lava, and lava is not fun.
So you just have to hop over all the lava while...
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of, like, how could you possibly do it? Because, I mean, assuming you knew what was coming...
Have you done this then?
Yeah, I did it. So, I mean, obviously what I did was, like, you just use, like, the obsidian skin potion, so you're invincible to lava. But then, because when you're invincible to lava, it acts just like water, and you still can't swim unless you have a specific piece of equipment.
Right.
The flippers for swimming. But then I discovered that if you combine I wasn't sure if you actually needed to combine obsidian skin and water walking, because then it just makes you walk on lava. And I was just like, what if you just had water walking? Would you still walk on lava because it just acts like water? But just to be on the safe side, I was like, better use both. I want to find out that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So basically it made all the bits of lava basically made all the lava in hell be a conveniently flat surface for you to fight on, which was much more handy. So you're just like, and then obviously it's the classic, like, you're shooting it, and it's like firing shit at you, and then the more damage you do to it, the faster it moves.
Oh, great.
So like the last few hit points, it's like, ah! You're just running as fast as you can and just going, shit, and it's getting incredibly close, and then you kill it. And, well, the funny thing was, I fought this entire boss fight, and I was like, fuck yeah, I killed it. And then I stood still for like 1 second too long, and a demon knocked off my last bit of health. It's just like a randomly spawning enemy appeared and was like, I was like, fuck.
Oh no.
Especially because obviously once I killed it, it dropped a whole load of stuff.
Yeah.
But then could you go back and get it?
Well, yeah, that was the problem, because it's actually kind of ingenious. When you kill it, it drops a whole bunch of stuff, but it creates like a little square room, so none of the stuff falls into lava or anything.
Oh, right.
So you can actually get it. So it like creates this little square room in hell, and I was like, yeah, and I was just about to jump into this square room, and then that demon killed me, and I was like, shit. But then the trouble is, once you defeat this hell boss, this is the next new thing, is like, I don't know why they call it, but they call it hard mode, where it's like the world goes into hard mode, where basically all the randomly spawning enemies just get a lot tougher, which made going all the way back down to hell to get that shit back really fucking annoying. Because it's like, I was like running down the cave, and like the first new randomly spawning enemy I came across like killed me in 2 hits.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna go bad. If I have to get all the way down to hell and these new things can kill me that easily. But yeah, I got down there eventually, using quite a lot of health potions. It's like, thank God. And then, so now it's like hard mode, and then in hard mode it has this other weird effect where you had the corrupted areas before, where it's like evil or whatever.
Yeah.
But now there's like the inverse, where there's like a good area, which in terms of like what you do in it is not actually any better, because everything still fights you. It's like unicorns will just come along and murder your face, or pixies. Everything's just as dangerous. So you have like the good area on one side of the map and the evil area on the other side of the map, and that spreads underground as well. So, like, you can get good and evil sort of cave environments, which have different enemies. And then, well, I'm not entirely sure what the end game of that is. It's like, because you can talk to a person in one of the NPCs that you can acquire, tells you, like, what percentage of the world is good or evil.
Right.
And you can sort of shift it by, like, purifying it or putting shit on it or whatever, I guess. I'm not sure if there's much point to that, but then there's also, like, from these new like harder enemies that you get you get like new evil and good enemies like the pixies and stuff, and they drop new things, and you can destroy like demon altars in the world. You can destroy with this special item you get for defeating that hell boss, and that generates new types of ore, so you can make even more new shit. And then I think the idea is that eventually you can collect these like souls from these good and evil creatures, and you can use those to craft like the things that trigger like the even more is like the advanced versions of the 3 original bosses. So it's like now instead of one giant floating eyeball, you can fight 2, but they're like tougher or something. I don't know. I haven't got to that bit yet. But yeah, there's a lot of shit to do.
It's quite a lot more than in
Minecraft. Yeah. Basically.
It's not like kill a dragon and there's credits.
Yeah. So, and they've turned on Christmas mode as well, which I haven't seen.
Christmas mode.
Well, and it also supposedly includes like snowy biomes now, so you can have snow-covered surface areas.
Snow biome.
Oh, I was going to say there is a Christmas thing in the bottom of the courthouse, Harvey Dent's courthouse in Batman. Calendar Man is in jail there, and you talk to him, and I think he has like date based.
Oh right.
So he has Christmas stuff at the moment.
Dungeon Keeper.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Classic. Is he really called Calendar Man?
Yeah, he's one of the villains. Yeah.
Terrible.
It's probably made up in the 1940s, though.
That's true, I guess. But like, what was his evil
power?
thing?
I don't know, something to do with dates.
I can history your ass.
None of them have powers, really.
Well, no.
But yeah, he has some weird MO to do with dates. Anyway.
Poison Ivy has powers.
That's true.
Mr. Freeze has science powers.
I guess.
So yeah, I guess that's sort of fair. There's not really much else. So there's just like a lot of new bits and pieces, and it's still way nicer than Minecraft in terms of like, you know, you can find out how to make stuff. Rather than Minecraft, you have to go and look at a wiki. In Terraria, you're just like, I got a new like type of ore. Go to the guy, give it to him, and say, "What can I make out of this?" And it just lists everything that uses that ore. It's like that's nice.
See, I'm kind of on your side with this, I think. And like, this is sort of early game of the year type talk, but Minecraft has been getting some attention, actually. And you know, I've always been a bit funny about how Minecraft seems to be gathering that sort of attention. You know, it's one of those I don't get it sort of things. But from a purely objective point of view, I kind of think Terraria is the better game.
Yeah, sort of. In game
terms.
Yeah.
As creation tool, probably not. Well, definitely not.
Well, I mean, they've been trying to expand their sort of creation-y elements.
I know, but you couldn't do.
But then by that logic, does it deserve to be game of the year?
Yeah, but you can't say
blocky art product.
Yeah, you can't be like creative toolbox of the year.
It is a game.
Well, you could, but
did Terraria come out this year or last year?
This year,
I think it was this year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that could be a contender for something.
Yeah, might.
Indie game of the year. Terraria.
No, Space Game.
Ah, damn.
That shit.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like it, but you know, having not played it, but it's like no.
You haven't played either of them.
No.
So yeah,
I'd still give it Terraria any day over Space Game.
I haven't played that for quite a while. I probably should. Mainly because I need to write that guide.
Oh yeah.
That hasn't been happening.
You are the Space God.
Yeah,
Space Game God.
It's like there's still hits on it, and I'm like, oh no. And I'll have to write a comedy intro blurb to it that's like, a year after the game's release, I finally managed to write some more of this guide. It's so useful.
Yeah, you really don't have an excuse, is the other thing.
I do. There's like other shit that I'm more interested in doing. That's the good excuse.
Playing Skyrim.
No, not playing Skyrim. In fact, not playing Skyrim. I haven't been much. But anyway, not talking about that yet still, because there's a couple more things.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about a couple of
wait, there's more.
Sort of quickly, in a shorter kind of way, about some of the stuff that was in that humble indie bundle.
Yeah.
Because I installed Cave Story and Bit Trip Runner.
Mm-hmm.
And Bit Trip Runner is kind of funny. And kind of awesome.
Bit Trip Beat was cool.
Yeah. Bit Trip Runner is kind of cool. It's just Vim driven. Apart from you can't put in your own music.
That reminded me of Metro Cross, actually.
Yeah, I guess, but
Dum, 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 dum.
but Metro Cross wasn't rhythm based.
Dum,
True.
dum, dum.
Should have been.
Metro Cross was just reaction based.
Oh, well, but Runner still keeps the rhythm theme, does it?
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
that's cool.
It's all about and it's actually kind of weird. I'm not sure if it's intentional, but like as you go through the level, you pick up the things that like enhance the music.
Yeah.
It like adds layers to the music track that makes it more funky or whatever. And I'm not sure whether it's intentional, but the last one where there's like 5 per level or whatever, and when you hit the last one, it actually like super washes out the music. And that makes it a lot harder because you suddenly lose the beatiness of it. I'm not sure if that's intentional or whether it's just sort of a coolness factor.
That when you're on a hella multiplayer or something, it makes it harder by removing the sound.
I'm not sure if that's just meant to be awesome or whether that's actually intentionally gameplay.
So what's the nega like? Is it they've still got the nega concept?
No, it's just like if you hit any obstacle, you just go back to the start.
We can't count this either, because I suppose it's not this year, is it, really, Runner? I said the PC version, I think, might have been this year, but it was on Wii a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. Long ass time. So yeah, that's kind of funky. And I just like some of the like, musical... It's the classic sort of, like, chiptune-y, but not quite. Although one of the things that annoys me about it is, like, there's one of the tunes that I like the most, and... It's got those 5 stages as you pick up the 5 power-ups where it enhances the music. And, like, the 4th stage of that music is, like, super funky. But then you get the 5th one and it just washes out. It's like,
That's great, isn't it?
And normally the distance between, like, the 4th and 5th power-up for some reason is really short. So you don't even get the awesome, funky 4th version for very long. And it's like, oh no!
Like in Sonic Generations, where if you're boosting and doing really well, then it just washes out the music.
Yeah. But then again, it's the classic thing, like in the Game Boy, the DS Sonics, where it's like, music is obscured by so much shit anyway.
That's true, that's true.
Most of the time you're not barely hearing it. So that was that, and then there was Cave Story, which I'd heard was good, and it's also ancient. And on the Wii.
Not as ancient as it looks,
Well,
though.
I thought this is the Plus version, though, isn't it? Which I thought was just fairly new.
Yeah, but it's not really, it's
like a remake.
Yeah, it's just like improved sprites and remastered music or whatever, which is also funky. That's one of the classic sort of games that I like, because it's just like chiptunes and pixel art, lol. Woo, that's all I want.
What was that one? That never came out yet, did it? The one about that's a 2D platformer, but with the
Fez?
Yeah, that's it, Fez.
Yeah, that still hasn't come out.
That still hasn't come out. I'm quite looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's like the more you see it, it's like, this could be kind of awesome for a puzzly kind of jumpy game.
Yeah, I want to see.
And it sounds good as well.
Yeah,
weirdly, like,
nicely atmospheric and
So yeah, that's that. Cave Story is not really much to say about it. It's just like a Metroid-y kind of game. You run around and shoot shit. And it has different guns. Although it has a kind of weird system for the guns where you collect like a new gun, but when you kill enemies, they drop like experience or whatever. It's just like a triangle. And you collect that, and then that fills up a bar, and then that levels up your gun when you get enough of it. And you can like go up to level 3 on each gun has 3 different versions basically as it powers up. But then when you take damage, it knocks some of the energy out of your gun as well, so they can level down if you're taking too many hits. So it's sort of like you have to find which weapons work better in certain situations. Although
protect your guns.
Yeah, and you have to preserve it's like, always never use the missile launcher in general combat, always save that for bosses, so you can just offload as many missiles and as much damage as you can as soon as you get to a boss fight. Naturally. Explosions. That's all you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's everything else that I need to talk about. I'm sure there was something else. Maybe we should mention shortly some of the Team Fortress. Because there's
back to Karkand.
Like a new level of Team Fortress.
New map.
There's been a whole new map. Actually, you were like didn't really sell it to me at first.
Well, it's just Fastlane.
Foundry.
The style is it?
Foundry. It's like semi-industrial. No, it's a Valve.
It's a Valve map. Then.
Yeah, it's an actual Valve map for once.
But they've just ripped off Fastlane, basically.
It's kind of Fastlane, but with few more bends and a few more routes.
I don't know about more.
Well, it's still got 3, I suppose.
Yeah, it's still the
most
sort of
points,
3
yeah.
doors into the middle area.
The 3 prongs. I don't know. I actually think I prefer it more. I quite liked Fastlane, but I think I prefer Foundry more than I like Fastlane. So far, it's been pretty good. You have a few problems with the last point being quite impossible to defend.
Yeah, it's because there's only one spawn, and it's basically you have the spawn door, and then you have 2 ramps that go up from either side of the spawn door, and the point is in the middle.
Right.
And because it's a slope, that naturally gives you the classic problem where it's like you clip on the edge or whatever, like you're trying to walk onto the point, but you have to walk all the way up to the top of the slope because you can't walk over that polygon edge or whatever.
Right.
So it has the classic problem of get on the goddamn point. Oh wait, I can't because I didn't quite jump high enough to make it over that ledge because I was trying to get there quicker than just walking up it.
Be disciplined.
And obviously, really easy for the enemies to lock you into spawn basically because there's only that one door.
Yeah. Spam the hole.
Or they can just shoot down the 2 sides.
Yeah, because there's not really any spawn protection at that point.
Or if they have demo men, they can just grenade down those.
Yeah,
sticky the shit out of it. Don't really like that last room.
Yeah, it's okay. I've not really experienced too much of the problem so far, but I can see how it could happen.
Well, we did have at least one game where we actually had an epic defense on that last point, where it lasted forever.
Yeah, we got the achievement for pushing them back. There's
well, it's like that was the first. Wasn't that really the first round we joined, where it's like pretty much just us joining turned the tide?
Yeah, it seemed that way. Yeah, you have to get pushed back to your last point, but then win the game. Capture them back in one swoop to win the game again. So it's like, we got that achievement.
Yeah, there's level specific achievements for this new level.
Yeah,
oh, cool.
Which are a bit confusing because they get added to your general list and don't mention that they're specific to that level.
All right.
So
it just says do that.
Yeah, so all the new ones are for that level only. Be warned, you can't just get them.
It's cool though. More maps for tier 2, more official maps.
Yeah.
I'm all
even
for that.
Even if it is just one. But it's alright, I quite like it.
And more stupid other weapons and crap. They made another round of the techno weapons, the Breath Workshop, whatever.
Grodbut or something.
Yeah. For Pyro and Engineer.
Oh yeah.
The Engineer one sounds a bit ridiculous. Or one
the Pyro one is so fucking
Well, the Pyro one is ludicrously overpowered at the moment. That's going to get severely nerfed.
What is it?
Well, basically
it's
you
super
have
long range at first.
Yeah, you have this flamethrower which has a bizarrely long range, which is the first thing that's annoying about it. But
there's a big red glow as well as the other thing, which is hard to spot just how far the range is.
Well, the thing is,
and it's red for both teams.
Yeah, that is kind of dumb. It's red for both teams. But it's that's the alt fire. What does the normal fire look like? Because I don't think I've ever seen anyone not using the alt fire.
That's the alt fire.
Well, because the whole idea of it is to use that, because it doesn't have an air burst.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is that using that alt fire to kill people is what charges up your thing.
Oh, I thought the alt fire just charged it passively rather than actually firing. And that is the primary fire that we're seeing.
Well, then how would you...
That's how I interpreted it anyway.
Well, I don't know, because we haven't actually used this weapon.
No, we have to get it somehow.
But so
it's not craftable or obtainable yet, is it?
No, they've only just put the community ones in for crafting,
so it's only in the... you still have to buy it at the moment. But a lot of people seem to have bought it.
Yeah. Probably because it's so ludicrously overpowered. But anyway, so you're using this flamethrower thing, and then it's sort of like in the same vein of the soldier buff banner things, you're building up a bar as you kill people with it. And then when you trigger that, you trigger it by taunting, and that recharges your health and gives you crits for some time.
Oh, okay.
And that is just ludicrously overpowered.
Yeah.
I literally saw it was like a pyro was hitting a heavy,
about to die,
shooting him with the flamethrower, and he charged up his thing, and he did the taunt to activate it, which obviously restores his health, and the heavy's standing point blank shooting him with a minigun, and he doesn't die, and then crits the heavy to death. And it's that should not be possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems a bit overpowered. What's the engineer thing then?
The engineer I can't actually remember the other two engineers, but the wrench engineer thing sounds really funny, because it's just you taunt and it teleports you back to spawn.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it removes the ability to carry buildings.
Yeah.
So you can't carry your buildings, but you can get straight back to spawn if you want to fuck with your teleporters or whatever.
So you can be a brush engineer or whatever.
Yeah.
Defensive engineer.
You don't have to bother setting up your initial teleporter at spawn, and then you can get the important things up, and then teleport back to spawn, and then deploy your entrance and just teleport back to where you were.
Yeah, cunning.
No, that's great.
So that seems kind of funny. I don't think I've ever actually seen anyone use that, though. Or at least not intentionally. I think
No,
I saw someone
I've
who
not seen
unlocked...
it.
I think I've seen someone who had it and then he just like walked down the sword and then teleported straight to the sword just because he was testing it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what the other engineer weapons were that go with that set.
That'd be quite good for capture the flag if you just plant your shit on your flag and then you just go run around.
Yeah,
with
you
it.
can actually go and well,
And then whenever someone...
yeah, I guess because it's quite near your spawn or base capture the flag,
Yeah.
I guess.
The other pyro one is the extinguish gun, isn't it?
Yeah, not sure how that works exactly either.
That has the ability to suck the flames off people.
But it's still a projectile somehow.
Well, yeah, but it's sort of weird. When I've seen it, it looks like the flames are being pulled off my character into the gun as an effect, which looked really cool actually. But I haven't quite worked out. It's got some like effect, doesn't it? Where the more flame you suck off people, the more crits it awards to the gun.
Yeah. Which seems like another ludicrous way to get pyros to get crits.
But I don't think I've seen it fired. I've seen it sucking.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it fired yet, so it's hard to tell how it actually acts.
I've seen the engineer one fired, which is just like another sparkly projectile, really.
Yeah.
Don't know what that one does. Oh wait, no, I do know what that one does. If you hit a medic with it, it knocks off 10% of their overcharge.
Ah, yeah.
Which is maybe quite powerful, but I'm not sure.
And
Depends
20% of a spy's cloak.
Yeah. Depends how accurate, or how rapid fire. I'm sure it's like flare speed or whatever.
So it could be quite cool for, as I say, the NG, it's like an NG spy check thing almost in a way, because if there's like a cloaked spy nearby and you just happen to hit him with this thing, chances of him decloaking right in front of you are nice and obvious.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I just think surely it's going to be a bit like, maybe it's another one of those things where you think as soon as there's going to be more than one engineer, it might become super overpowered. Because it's just like, if they had a sentry nest, they wouldn't even, if there was an Uber, they wouldn't even have to bother repairing the sentry. They could just shoot the Uber and it'd make it end super fast.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Assuming it because it just says it knocks 10% off.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't
If it
thought of
works
that.
on active Ubers, not just the stored charge.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I doubt it would.
You'd hope not, because otherwise that'd be a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I doubt it would.
Just seems a bit weird. And there's various Christmas-themed weaponry as well.
Yeah, like guns with lights on.
Well, not just guns with lights on, but like the scout gets another Christmas melee weapon, which is like a roll of wrapping paper that shoots baubles.
That's sweet.
That is cool.
Oh, I assume it doesn't shoot balls. I assume it's like a replacement for the baseball, basically.
Yeah.
But that's something. It's like the baubles cause bleeding damage and a splash effect or something. I don't think I've ever seen anyone get hit by that though, because it must be quite a small area, like the flare explosion, presumably.
I've not even seen it at all. So.
And that's Team Fortress,
That's Team Fortress 2.
I guess. And then Back to Karkand came out, and we didn't play it very much.
Well, no, because we couldn't.
Because as usual, we can't find good servers.
We were having a bit of a fail night in general. It was just not behaving really. And even when we got on the levels, though, we got on Gulf of Oman.
Well, we did sort of play all of them once.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
basically,
wait, I don't think we did play Karkand.
we didn't actually play Karkand.
No.
Strike at Karkand, I think, was the one we missed.
I played Karkand
Um,
at some other time.
we got Gulf of Oman. What was the other one?
Sharky Peninsula.
Sharky Peninsula. Oh yeah, that's the one with the TV station.
And Wake.
Isn't it? And Wake. Wake, I actually really enjoy. That was okay. Wake is still classic, you know.
They scaled
I
it
think-
up a bit, or is it?
No, it's about the same size.
Same.
Yeah. No, I thought Wake was quite good fun, even if it is a bit. I don't know. Yeah, it's still alright. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it keeps getting included in all the games because it works.
I always preferred Midway to Wake on
Yeah, Midnight was
942.
good. Yeah. Wake, I think, is just it's just a classic though, isn't it? Everyone knows it. So that works quite well. The other two that we managed to play, I really don't like. Really, really hate them.
I didn't really get...
It's like the only reason I sort of enjoyed Gulf of Oman was because it's a good place for jet combat.
I didn't really get a sense of what the actual level of Gulf of Oman is, because I never really got past the beach or sitting on the carrier.
No, I know what you mean. Everything is on the beach. There's
Are they not just the same as they were in Battlefield 2?
Well, I assume
they are, but they're just... There's something about the mechanics of Battlefield 3 applied to these levels that just mean that it's a clusterfuck.
Well, I just think there's
all
too
the
many
time.
vehicles on.
Yeah, there's vehicles everywhere.
Gulf of
People are
Oman.
coming up behind you. You never know where you're getting shot from. It's everything I hate about that style of game. Like, in those things.
Because it's just like...
It's like a complete... It's a concentration of all the shit bits of Battlefield
It's just
rather
like-
than all the good bits.
It's just 4 capture points in a row on a beach, and because it's a beach, there's no cover sideways. You can just drive straight between them. So all the
vehicles
vehicles
have
just
like
travel
power,
from one
yeah.
end of the beach to the other, capturing all the points, and then they get recaptured by like one infantry guy who hid. So it's just like constant procession of vehicles driving backwards and forwards.
It's
and if
weird
you're trying to
'cause
make an amphibious landing, you're fucked.
Because it's weird, because it's both awesome and bad to be in vehicles at the same time. They've made it so it's like, when I ever got in a vehicle, I immediately got spotted by about 5 others that just happened to swarm on me, so I got killed immediately.
Yeah.
Or there'd be an insanely good chopper pilot who'd just send a couple of rockets my way, and that would take out my tank.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, how did you be that accurate from that distance with a chopper, you bastard? They're inherently inaccurate things. It's
Sort
like, kinda, yeah, they have a sort of...
Well, I did
quite a
notice
big
in one.
spread.
I did notice in
There's-
one of the patch notes they said they fixed the predictive aiming sights.
Oh, okay.
For
Yeah, because they were
moving.
rubbish.
Well, I mean, I hadn't really piloted at all, but I understood what they were
I've never
trying
got
to
the
do.
flares, so me piloting a chopper is awful.
But I was the classic.
It's impossible to earn points in a chopper unless you're like...
Get in the gun seat.
No one ever... There's always someone in the gunner seat, or the choppers are those shitty transport ones that get straight out of the sky in like 2 seconds. I've only ever seen someone do well in those choppers once. Like, literally once, where they were on a proper run where they had gunners each side and they were actually taking down infantry well.
Well, you need the classic sit in the seat and repair the chopper as it's flying plan.
Well, yeah,
That always helps.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the fact they've made jets so they're more effective against choppers.
Suppose.
Which, no, I've noticed it, because I was taking quite a lot of choppers down the other night just by using the machine gun on them. It's quite a lot more effective. Because you can just disable the choppers now. You don't outright destroy them in a pass. Generally, that's still pretty tough. But you disable them, and then they crash. So you might not get the kills, but you get the destroys.
And you take out the threat to your team.
Yeah. So jet against, and I think that's right, because the balance, that makes sense, you're using the bloody death dot on a chopper, on a jet, and it's like choppers armed with anti-air are still quite a threat to jets. So, I don't know, I think it's a nice balancing thing. It's kind of cool.
I wish ground-based anti-air, well, not infantry-based anti-air still needs a buff, because it's fucking impossible. You can't fire fast enough to defeat the flare recharge rate. Like, by the time you've got a lock, fired it, dropped that thing, got a new one, and then relocked, they've already got their flares back.
Flare charge is quite a long time on the jets.
Well, and also, it's doubly the same problem now that everyone also has upgraded from flares to ECM, so you can't even do laser locks or anything. Which is super annoying. There was a couple of times where there was just like, where we were playing and it was just like 2 jet pilots were just owning the sky because nothing could hit them, because as soon as anyone locked them, it was all just, they were just flaring it off.
Maybe if it's like jets with stealth that make the anti-air, like, ineffective.
Yeah, that probably helps. I don't know, didn't really see there. They didn't kill me, of course, because I was just a dude, so I didn't see what they had. But you can see the ECM, because it looks different from the flares, obviously.
So jets are really hard to use to start off with, but then if you play them enough, they become invulnerable.
Seems like it.
Yeah, as soon as I got stealth, things got a lot... As soon as you get flares, things are a lot easier.
Well, obviously, as soon as you get flares.
Yeah, flares basically just make them usable. As soon as you get that, then you're okay. But
you can
to
make
be honest,
them
since
even
I've
more
had
effective.
stealth, things have been a lot easier.
And then the last map was that Sharky Peninsula, which...
I don't mind defending the TV station. That was probably the only thing I enjoyed about that. As I tried to explain earlier, my problem is that it's a clusterfuck. People just come from everywhere. You get shot from anywhere, and it's...
Well,
I don't know. There's less of a flow to how you go through the level, and because of that, you can't really predict where anyone is, and you just end up getting shot in the back all the time.
Well, it's like that...
I just didn't enjoy it.
It's because it's Conquest Assault. That sort of game mode relies a lot more on the backcapping.
Yeah.
Because it's like the advancing force pushes in initially, and then
distract
someone
the
has to
enemy.
go round and recap one of the back points, so you don't just get crushed.
The problem I found with it is that a lot of the design of that level in general is that there's not actually many decent routes into the city that
No.
don't go through the forward positions.
Yeah.
So the backcapping opportunities are quite limited,
Yeah.
unless you like chopper in. But
Yeah.
then some of the spawn points for some of the vehicles are a bit ridiculous as well. Like this, one of the defending team's choppers spawns on a building that's really easily visible from everywhere, and then you get accused of base rape
Because tanks are just shooting shells
because tanks
onto
just
the
shoot it,
helipad.
as soon as it spawns. That's a dumb position.
Well, but then again, there was that when we were playing that game of Sharky, there was that epic chopper battle where there was just like one chopper fighter who was just owning everything on the goddamn map, and no one else could get anywhere near the other chopper because he'd just destroy it on the launch pad every time.
He was fucking evil, that guy.
It was really annoying. That's Battlefield. We need to play more of
Tyranny
that, I
of
guess.
choppers.
Yeah, so as I say, I'm not enjoying the new stuff yet. Really, I don't mind the concept of assignments. So that's and the FAMAS. We can't
They need nerf the FAMAS.
You see, there's a lot of
new weapons.
Yeah, it's all like the forums are nice. Are a massive flame war over the FAMAS because it's like a lot of the people that use it are obviously going, "Don't nerf it. It's fine. Seriously, there are downsides to using it." Basically, the way the FAMAS is balanced is that it fires a lot faster and doesn't lose its accuracy so much in the burst, from what I've read. And that's why it's anyone before they have the chance to get their bullets off. So in a one-on-one battle, the FAMAS will always win, which is irritating, because most of your fights are one-on-ones. Most of them in Battlefield tend to be like a one-on-one. You can retreat to reload, go into another one. It's just how it happens. But its accuracy is insane over incredible distance, so you can get picked off really quite easy with a FAMAS acting like a sniper rifle,
right?
As well as this limitation, which isn't much of a limitation. So I think we're definitely on the side of OP. I think because it's just mean, properly mean. I couldn't.
Well, it's like
pretty much every time I got into a fight and lost, it was because of the FAMAS.
Well, it's like
every time, and I know people are using it because it's new, which is the other argument. It's like everyone is using it not necessarily because it's overpowered, but because it's new. But I honestly think it feels overpowered.
Well, it was like the F2000, that assault machine gun,
which was the other popular.
That was
choice.
the one that was. But now I don't think I've seen that since. So it's just been FAMAS all the time.
I haven't seen it since the FAMAS came out.
So yeah,
but yeah, I sincerely hope that gets nerfed because although there's a lot of love for it in the forums as much as there is hate. No.
Well, that's always going to be the case.
Yeah, because people love it because it's overpowered.
It's like the night vision thing.
Yeah. Well, I actually quite like the night vision. I thought that was okay.
Well, they nerfed it to make it because everyone was using it all the time.
I don't like it so much now. I think it was fine as it was, to be honest. Because it was quite restrictive because it didn't offer you any zoom or anything. So it was...
They nerfed my goddamn shotgun frag rounds. Those probably were a bit ridiculous. It's like they don't.
I never used them, so I don't know.
Well, I think the problem with them was that they don't necessarily do very much damage. They do a shit ton of suppression, and I have the squad suppression thing, so I just do ludicrous suppression with them. But the main problem with them is that they act like a slug that explodes. It's like you can fire long distance and they arc, so you can fire, you don't have to be that accurate, you're just firing at an area and you're causing explosions at an area in the distance with a shotgun, which is maybe slightly ridiculous.
That's a bit weird.
And obviously you can use that to like shoot around corners or whatever, because you're just aiming splash damage on the corner and shooting people, or like the classic one that I did was like, I knew there was someone in a building above me, so I was just shooting onto the edge of the window, and that explosion was catching him inside the room.
Holy crap, you know what?
What?
You're going to have no time to talk Skyrim.
Yeah, I know. Luckily, I think I'm going to summarise it very rapidly.
Do so now. You have like 7 minutes.
Well, so the thing that I sort of discovered, the more that I've been playing it, is like...
Skyrim time.
It's totally not an RPG at all. There's no role you play unless the role you're playing is a bastard who somehow saves the world. Because you don't have any choices. It's like, I got to the bit where I knew it was going to be the Thieves Guild bit. Because they're basically isolated into one city or whatever. So presumably I know also I'm coming up to the Mages College bit, which is another city, and presumably there's a Dark Brotherhood city. So I knew it was coming, so I was like, okay, Thieves Guild City is going to come up, and I'm going to not be a bastard and not be a thief. So you walk into this city, and basically the first guy you meet is like, he's like, hey, do you want to help me, incriminate this guy by planting a stolen ring on him? And it's like, no! Fuck off! But unfortunately, you can't say no. It's just like, you don't actually have any real dialogue options to refuse it. It's just like, you can quit out of the conversation because you can do that at any time in like the Skype. You just press tab and abort the conversation. And he's like, I'll be here when you're ready. It's like, I don't want to do that.
So,
But is it essential to the story progression?
Well, no, it's a string of side quests, but it's like, that's just a big chunk of content in the game
So they haven't basically done a Mass Effect thing where you can sort of opt out of it or choose a different branch for that by just saying no and trying to paragon your way out of it.
Yeah, it's like, there should be an alternate version of the same mission.
So
it should be, because there are some, like...
incriminate the thief instead.
Yeah, there are some missions where it's like, do this or this. It's like, why? It'd be nice if these like side quests actually had because the people in this town talk about there's this like uber like the mob family or whatever basically who like they control everything and you can't take them down. It's like, so why is the alternate to the Thieves Guild quest where you're getting in good with these guys? Why is not the Thieves Guild quest to like incriminate them by doing the same quest of like nicking shit but then deliberately planting evidence or something?
What do you think makes an RPG then? Do you think it's meaningful choices to do with your alignment or leveling?
Well,
this is the weird thing, because if you could argue that Final Fantasy doesn't give you a choice.
But it has leveling.
But it has a good story. And
So
the
it's
story
not
is the main, and it's not like side quests. It's not, because these aren't main story quests, they're side quests, but there's no options to them.
I think the thing you've got to keep in perspective with the concept of an RPG is that just because you're playing a role doesn't necessarily mean that you're playing yourself, or you're playing a persona that you want. It's like it's like acting, in a way, isn't it? You're essentially role playing that guy.
Yeah, but the whole idea
not
of
role playing you necessarily.
The whole idea of like the Skyrim storyline and the character creation and everything is you are just a totally blank slate at the start. You can skill up in whatever you want just by doing it.
And become who you want.
I know, it's
weird.
It is kind of awkward, isn't it? Because, an RPG in the sense doesn't have to fall into that. But yes, the scope in which the game tries to present itself is the type of, I am who I am.
And also,
this is my world, bitches.
And also, as we mentioned before, the classic dissonance of like, you can be a field bastard, but you're still saving the world in the end.
Because if you look at Deus Ex Human Revolution, that does give you alignment-based choices, but there's no leveling or stuff. Is that an RPG? You see, it's like, what
well,
is
the
an
choices
RPG
do sometimes matter. That's the other thing, where it's like, they do, it's not like, because in Skyrim if there was a choice, then it would be different. But there isn't a choice, so there's no alternate path.
So in that respect, it's not as good as Fallout.
Well, I don't know, Fallout had some kind of similar things. I think in Fallout probably there were a lot more cases. But then again, in Fallout you didn't necessarily have proper side quest mission strings. They were all just like random things.
Okay, they didn't often cause a chain of it.
There wasn't really they weren't really side stories. It was just like side stuff.
Yeah. All individual.
Yeah, well, some of them were linked up, but not so much with a big story. Well, I mean, obviously the Thieves Guild is quite an important thing in the Oblivion sort of that universe. It's quite a big deal. And like the end result of the Thieves Guild chain is like bringing them back to power or whatever. Or something. I don't know, I didn't do it. So I was like, fuck you Thieves Guild, I'm going to carry on with the main story, I guess. Because I can't do your shit. Not going to see half this game. Whatever.
Because I'm not evil.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And then, so there's two more things. How much time have I got?
3 minutes.
Not much.
Enough. Two more things that I want to say that are super annoying. One of them is the dragons are actually not cool at all. They're just really fucking annoying. It's like you can't fast travel to 2 different places on the map without another goddamn dragon turning up. It's like, fuck off! And then there was one time where I was travelling around and 2 dragons turned up at the same time. It's like, god damn it, this is just really inconvenient and annoying. It's like they're not even that dangerous.
Does it get like boring to fight then?
Yeah, well, they're already quite boring to fight. It's not like, they're not the amazing big deal that everyone sort of made them out to be originally.
They're not like, holy shit, dragons.
No,
They're just like,
it's just like,
shit, dragons.
Shoot at them with arrows until they land, and then run up and stab them in the face until they take off, and then shoot them with arrows until they land, and then stab them in the face until they die. Not complicated. And then the other thing, what was the other thing? Oh shit, I might have forgotten.
2 minutes.
Oh no! So, I know,
Got this final
fucked
point.
myself up. The dragons are really annoying.
Was it about dungeons?
Was it about dungeons?
I don't know.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I'll ask you.
Yeah. That kind.
The crowning moment of Zach's criticism of Skyrim has slipped
Something
his
you
mind
can't
completely.
remember.
God damn it.
Anyway,
Yeah, I guess.
I will be playing that game, I think.
Yeah.
I think my brother's getting it for me for Christmas. Because he's a massive fan.
Yeah.
along with the rest of the world giving it Game of the Year.
Apparently.
I think I've made my point.
A moaning bass point.
A
Yes,
base point.
moaning bass point.
So we got a Game of the Year. Game of the Year next time.
Relax. Yes, our next podcast will be Game of the Year with various awards, which
We'll make up on the
we
day.
will make
Yeah,
up.
basically.
So look forward to that, listeners. It should be crazy.
I still need to make a theme tune.
Do you really though?
Well, we didn't last year.
No.
How many games of this year have we actually played that, like, more than one of us have played?
Some.
Some.
But it's not like last time we didn't have everyone not playing the same thing. It's like
We've all played
Mass Effect 2-1, and we've all played that.
Meat Boy was like the other one thing that we all
That we
played.
all-
We've all played Sonic Generations.
I haven't played that
Oh,
yet.
did you not play it? I thought you had
Yeah.
to go.
Not yet.
Oh.
I might
Well,
have
you
to
know
do
how
that
it
before
works.
next week. Okay, well, yes.
Yeah.
I do know how that works.
Yeah, it's Sonic.
And it's in the Steam sale.
£5 off.
Thanks for joining us. Join us again for Game of the Year. And if not, then join us next year for more podcasts about video games. Here on the Saladcast. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my god, what the fuck?
that's a bit much.